earned their spot against co-host Mexico at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City on Monday at 1 a.m. Elsewhere, in news with the Belgian game, Yuri Tielemans scored a penalty late in extra time as Belgium produced a sensational comeback from 2 goals down to defeat Senegal. The last gasp victory helped them boost their chances of going all the way. They'll have a last 16 meeting with the United States now. Rudy Garcia's men look to be heading out after trailing, but 2 goals late on sealed the deal to get sent it to extra time. Yuri Tielemans then scoring a 125th minute penalty. Elsewhere, and with the news with the United States, Florian Balogun scored and was later sent off as the United States advanced past Bosnia and Herzegovina in Santa Clara to reach the last 16 of the World Cup. Disappointment though, because Balogun is now set to miss the next game, even though a red card looked extremely soft on replays. But he scored the opener. Tillman got the second, as United States will now face Belgium. In domestic football, Vitória Pereira is poised to leave Nottingham Forest, with the club ready to appoint former Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner as his successor. Reports suggest that the deal to appoint the Austrian is virtually done, just the formalities left to complete. And Tottenham are set to break their transfer record for a second time this week after agreeing to sign Newcastle United's Sandro Tonali. Previously had an £80 million bid but rejected by Newcastle, and now set to pay 92.5 with 7.5 extra in add-ons. In cricket, England's attempt to move on from a dreadful start to the summer was hit by weather as their first T20 against India was abandoned. 2 days after the test, captain Ben Stokes retired with the game against New Zealand. England got halfway through the opener to a 5-match series against India before rain set in. Recovered did India from 6-2 to post 189 for 7 in the first innings, but then heavy rainfall saw the match called off. Elsewhere in Formula 1, Lando Norris has insisted that he has the pain of this year for the glory of last. It's been a bit of a frustration for him this year. Very much McLaren's expectation that it would start 26, unable to set the repeat joy they had in 24-25. That's been realised, but Norris insists there's still a lot of effort to prove that they can compete this year. Elsewhere, in the game with Ireland and Australia in rugby union, Sam Prendergast's strong end to the season with Leinster has earned him a recall to the lineup for Saturday's Nations Championship. He lost a fly half spot to Jack Crowder in the Six Nations, but with him ruled out through injury, he's now back in the fold. While finally into news in tennis, former French Mira Andreeva, the champion, broke down in tears as she was knocked out by Barbara Krajkovic. She lost 4-6, 7-5, 6-4 before the game with Novak Djokovic. He outclassed her for Tsitsipas in a statement performance, winning 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 in just 98 minutes. That's all in for the latest headlines. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm Tom Hill. We'll start with news in football. And with England, and Harry Kane's brace was able to spare a huge humiliation as they came from behind to beat DR Congo in Atlanta to reach the last 16. Thomas Tuchel's side were 15 minutes away from an embarrassing exit as DR Congo defended the early lead given to them by Brian Kipenga. Then captain Kane came to the rescue by heading home after 75 minutes, but then thrashing home a winner with 4 minutes left. Goalkeeper Lionel Mapsy of Congo made some stunning saves. Yoram Visser hit the post. In truth, a dreadful performance from England across the night, but they earned their spot against co-host Mexico at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City on Monday at 1 a.m. Elsewhere, in news with the Belgian game, Yuri Tielemans scored a penalty late in extra time as Belgium produced a sensational comeback from 2 goals down to defeat Senegal. The last gasp victory helped them boost their chances of going all the way. They'll have a last 16 meeting with the United States now. Rudy Garcia's men look to be heading out after trailing, but 2 goals late on sealed the deal to get sent it to extra time. Yuri Tielemans then scoring a 125th minute penalty. Elsewhere, and with the news with the United States, Florian Balogun scored and was later sent off as the United States advanced past Bosnia and Herzegovina in Santa Clara to reach the last 16 of the World Cup. Disappointment though, because Balogun is now set to miss the next game, even though a red card looked extremely soft on replays. But he scored the opener. Tillman got the second, as the United States will now face Belgium. In domestic football, Vitória Pereira is poised to leave Nottingham Forest, with the club ready to appoint former Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner as his successor. Reports suggest that the deal to appoint the Austrian is virtually done, just the formalities left to complete. And Tottenham are set to break their transfer record for a second time this week after agreeing to sign Newcastle United's Sandro Tonali. Previously had an £80 million bid but rejected by Newcastle, and now set to pay 92.5 with 7.5 extra in add-ons. In cricket, England's attempt to move on from a dreadful start to the summer was hit by weather as their first T20 against India was abandoned. 2 days after Test, captain Ben Stokes retired with the game against New Zealand. England got halfway through the opener to a 5-match series against India before rain set in. Recovered India from 62 to post 189 for 7 in the first innings, but then heavy rainfall saw the match called off. Elsewhere in Formula 1, Lando Norris has insisted that he has the pain of this year for the glory of last. It's been a bit of a frustration for him this year. He very much McLaren's expectation that it would start 26, unable to set the repeat joy they had in 24-25. That's been realised, but Norris insists there's still a lot of effort to prove that they can compete this year. Elsewhere, in the game with Ireland and Australia in rugby union, Sam Prendergast's strong end to the season with Leinster has earned him a recall to the line for Saturday's Nations Championship. He lost a fly half spot to Jack Crowder in the Six Nations, but with him ruled out through injury, he's now back in the fold. While finally into news in tennis, former French Open Mira Andreeva, the champion, broke down in tears as she was knocked out by Barbara Krakovic. She lost 4-6, 7-5, 6-4 before the game with Novak Djokovic. He outclassed her for Tsitsipas in a statement performance, winning 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 in just 98 minutes. That's all in for the latest headlines. Here are your latest sporting headlines. I'm Tom Helm. We'll start with news in football. And with England, and Harry Kane's brace was able to spare a huge humiliation as they came from behind to beat DR Congo in Atlanta to reach the last 16. Thomas Tuchel's side were 15 minutes away from an embarrassing exit as DR Congo defended the early lead given to them by Brian Kipenga. Then Captain Kane came to the rescue by heading home after 75 minutes, but then thrashing home a winner with 4 minutes left. Goalkeeper Lionel Mapsi of Congo made some stunning saves. Young Visser hit the post. In truth, a dreadful performance from England across the night, but they earned their spot against co-host Mexico at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City on Monday at 1 a.m. Elsewhere, in news with the Belgian game, Yuri Tielemans scored a penalty late in extra time as Belgium produced a sensational comeback from 2 goals down to defeat Senegal. The last gasp victory helped them boost their chances of going all the way. They'll have a last 16 meeting with the United States now. Rudy Garcia's men looked to be heading out after trailing, but 2 goals late on sealed the deal to send it to extra time. Yuri Tielemans then scoring a 125th minute penalty. Elsewhere, and with the news with the United States, Florin Balogun scored and was later sent off as the United States advanced past Bosnia and Herzegovina in Santa Clara to reach the last 16 of the World Cup. Disappointment though, because Balogun is now set to miss the next game. A red card looked extremely soft on replays, but he scored the opener. Tillman got the second, as the United States will now face Belgium. In domestic football, Vitória Pereira is poised to leave Nottingham Forest with the club ready to appoint former Crystal Palace boss Oliver Glasner as his successor. Reports suggest that the deal to appoint the Austrian is virtually done, just the formalities left to complete. And Tottenham are set to break their transfer record for a second time this week after agreeing to sign Newcastle United's Sandro Tonali. Previously had an £80 million bid but rejected by Newcastle, and now set to pay 92.5 with 7.5 extra in add-ons. In cricket, England's attempt to move on from a dreadful start to the summer was hit by weather as their first T20 against India was abandoned. 2 days after Test, captain Ben Stokes retired with the game against New Zealand. England got halfway through the opener to a 5-match series against India before rain set in. Recovered India from 62 to post 189 for 7 in the first innings, but then
now in the knockout stages, most of us used to the 16, which we'll come to in a moment, and Australia get us underway, kicking from left to right from the pictures we're seeing from Arlington in Texas, or Dallas Stadium as it's more commonly known, AT&T if you know your NFL. And the game is underway with Australia in their usual kit of the yellow shirts, green shorts, white socks, Egypt in their usuals as well of red shirts, white shorts and the black socks. And Australia under pressure straight away, but in possessions. The ball comes off Chikati and out of play for a throw-in on this near right-hand side. I'm Steve Pearson, bringing this independent off-tube studio commentary, joined by Tom Wilson for this one. And Tom, few people think this one might go all the way to penalties, but the one thing we want is an open, exciting encounter if it does.
Yeah, hopefully that's what we get, Steve. The latter and not the former. both these two sides, runners-up in their respective groups. Australia started, they came flying out the traps, didn't they? A 2-0 victory against Turkey. It was fancied that it would be Turkey and the US that would pretty comfortably progress through the group, and Australia were able to beat Turkey, and then they did suffer defeat to the US, and a 0-0 draw against Paraguay in the end was enough to get them through. Egypt have remained unbeaten in the group stages. They've won 1 and drawn 2. Mohamed Salah has been pivotal to that, of course, and luckily for the Pharaohs, he's passed a fitness test. He is fit, he does play. Hopefully he can inject something which moves us away from that, what we maybe expect, and that it might be a little bit defensive and a little bit of a slow start.
Yeah, certainly some firepower up front for that Egyptian side, with Mo Salah and Omar Mamouche. Mo Salah looking for a record equaling goal, which will come to as the evening goes on. And the ball is in possession of the Egyptians, just inside their own half, as Atia spins away. Ball breaks on this left hand side. A little bit of space perhaps to run into, but closed down quickly on this occasion. No real room for Karim Hafez to get forward on that left hand side, so he'll work his way all the way back over to the right, and eventually it finds Hani. At the moment it's just a little bit of let's see if we can just pull you forward a little bit here from the Egyptian side, taking the time. Australia sitting deep, 5-4-1 their formation this evening, with Iran Kunda leading the line, and defensive line fairly high at the moment. Egypt in possession just inside their own half, and the defensive line of Australia halfway up inside theirs, so not going to give Egypt too much space. And the ball all the way back to Mustafa Shabir in the Egyptian goal. It's been late nights for Egyptian English viewers so far, or early mornings, depending on which way you look at it. Predominantly kind of the same with some of the Australian games, so you've had to be a real night owl to catch this Egyptian side so far.
Yeah, the Australians will be hoping they can host a World Cup one of these days, I imagine, Steve, because if you've been following the Socceroos in this tournament and in previous ones, it's a lot of early mornings and a lot of late nights, isn't it? But they, as I say, they have had some things to shout about, not just the 2-0 victory against Turkey, but they've conceded very few goals. They've only scored 2, but they've also only conceded 2.
Yeah, not been able to score in the last 2 games against the USA and Paraguay. Although, as we know, Paraguay not the easiest side to beat, as the Germans found out in the second round. The ball is played long downfield here by the Socceroos, but Shabir makes a little bit of a mess of whether to take it back into the penalty area or whether to clear it away, as Iran Kunda tried to close him down, and eventually just hooks the ball out of play for a throw-in, 10 or 15 yards inside the Egyptian half, over on that far side of the field. The Australian left, as Asit Behic comes across to take it. He wants to take it quickly, but we seem to have a delay. The camera's focused in on him. Of course, he's only got 5 seconds in which to get on with it. The referee has sorted out whatever it was, and play will continue. The referee Gustavo Tejera is the official this evening. He gets play back underway, and Australia are in possession inside the Egyptian half. Nice little turn from Volpato, gets a bit of space, tries a shot, and it flicks the top of the crossbar from 25 yards. For a second, Volpato thought he'd scored, but the ball flicks off the woodwork and goes behind.
No, it's too easy from an Australia perspective, Steve. The middle of the defensive midfield from Egypt just parted. There was absolutely no one there picking the Australian up. He's able to turn, and once he does, you know exactly what he's going to do. He's going to open up and release a strike, and it's a really good effort, isn't it? Just kisses the top of the crossbar. Goalkeeper potentially beaten. It's a really good first moment for Australia. Just found some room, decent shot away. That'll give them some confidence, because they've not really seen much of the ball in the opening 5 minutes.
Volpato finding a little bit of space, the 22-year-old midfielder. He's plied his trade in Italy so far in his career, at Sassuolo and at Roma. Subject of a pretty big money move from Roma to Sassuolo.
Yeah, he's one of a few
seasons ago.
Oh, sorry, Steve. I was just going to say he's one of a few with Italian, Australian citizenship or heritage. He's only played 3 times. This is his 4th game for Australia. He's one of a few that only very recently, in his case, it's this year, but in the last few years that have declared for Australia, played for Italy at youth level as well. So it's been a really good. I nearly said sign in there. I don't think. I'm sure he signed something, didn't he? But it's been a very good inclusion into the squad, and very nearly put them in front.
Yeah, like a lot of nations, spreading the net across the world to find the players that they need as the ball is played on the right-hand side. And Australia racing forward here towards the penalty area. Eventually, challenge comes in. There's a little bit of space found its way for Jordan Boss. Great run from him into the attacking third, and it's hooked away before he gets into the penalty area over onto that far side. But what a run from Boss! He was picked out as one of the potential change makers in this Australian side, both defensively and going forward, and he proved it there.
Yeah, had he finished that, Steve, probably one of the greatest World Cup goals ever, wasn't it? I don't think he touched the ball for maybe 3 touches there. He was dribbling it with the ball in the air, even beat the defender with the ball in the air as well. In the end, just doubled up, wasn't he, by 2 Egyptian defenders, but out for a corner.
The referee just dealing with a little bit of silliness inside the 6-yard box. Metcalf is in there, and Kunda is in there as well. The corner from the right-hand side, Aidan O'Neill will take it. He takes it short on this occasion to Volpato, though. Back to O'Neill to try and get the ball in, but he just read it, closed him down. It's cleared away up towards the halfway line. 7 minutes gone then. Australia with the best of the chances so far in the early stages, and it remains at 0-0. As the ball all the way back to Patrick Beach, who plays it left-footed, high up into the Egyptian half. It's flicked on, but nobody in a yellow shirt there to be able to get to it. And Andy Fati plays the ball back towards his own goal. And things are tidied up as far as Egypt are concerned. They have possession again. Need a little bit of possession just to settle down here, Tom, really. Egypt have not really been able to get any control in this game so far.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mohamed Salah yet, have we? The main man for Egypt. But, there are other players out there certainly capable of influencing the game, and we haven't really seen those either. Marmoush has been quiet. It's been a good couple of minutes for Australia, though. I think they'll be really happy. They, too, have not really seen Aaron Kunda on the ball. We haven't yet seen the game spark into life. Yes, we've had that crossbar hit, but I'd say the Aussies have probably started just the better. As you say, Egypt will want to settle down. They probably want a chance themselves as well, just to regain some confidence.
Egypt in possession, but coming back towards the halfway line on this occasion. Marwan Attia plays the ball forward. There's a wall of yellow shirts keeping Egypt turning back towards their own goals. They're working out over onto that right-hand side. Ashur rolls it down the line. Hani will try and get across it. He's closed down. He's still got possession, though. And it'll be worked back by Salah outside the penalty area and all the way across back into midfield. Australia sitting deep, just leaving Nkunda upfield. Poor ball in by Salah, easily headed away on the edge of the penalty area by Jackson Irvine. And eventually Egypt winning it straight back, and they're starting to take a little bit of control over the game. It took 8.5 minutes really for them to do so.
Yeah, you can see the deep defensive line, Steve. Everyone behind the ball. Aaron Kunda's the furthest forward, but he's not pressing to get it back. He's just sort of getting in the way of the passing lanes. You can see why Australia have only conceded the 2 goals. Only 6 teams have conceded less than them from the group stages. You can definitely see why. They're very deep. They're going to be very difficult to break down.
They certainly are, and they're very quick on the break as well. As Volpato plays the ball to the left-hand side again. Australia looking for a free kick. Referee gives himself a bit of thinking time. As Jackson Irvine is brought down, the ponytailed figure in midfield, which gets a little whack on the end of the toes on that occasion, I think, as the challenge came in. Yep, the referee quite right to give the free kick.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, to be honest. I thought he knew exactly what he was doing, Irvine. He knew if he got there first and there was contact, he'd get the free kick, but wasn't strong enough contact for me. But it's the first that we've seen of Jackson Irvine.
Yeah, ball worked out towards Boss again over on this right hand side. Has to take a little time to take it down, and then he's covered away, so he's forced back towards the halfway line and all the way to his captain Harry Suter. Just rolls it onto this right hand side. Chikati tries to get the ball forward, but it's blocked out. Challenge comes in. It's had a play for a Aussie throw in midway inside the Egypt half on the right hand side. 10 minutes on the clock, no score on the board. And forward again is Alessandro Chikati. Throws the ball down this right hand side. Volpato manages to take it down under control somehow, but eventually it comes off the Australian and out of play for a throw in. Attia wants to take it quickly, certainly wants the ball back. And eventually he'll just roll it back to Hafez behind him, and play will start off with the Egyptian left back. And Kunda will close down quickly, and Shabir again looking uncomfortable with the ball at his feet, and Australia closing down quickly and winning back the possession high up the field with Metcalf, although he's then lost out, challenging away, and a rather soft foul given for the challenge on Yasser Ibrahim. But Shabir not really sure what he was doing on that occasion under pressure from Irankunda.
Yeah, it's really smart and really efficient pressing from Australia. As I mentioned, they're not going to do it inside their own half, Steve. They're going to sit back and soak that pressure up and wait for a moment to steal the ball away. But when it's up the other end, they're going to press. Irankunda has got so much pace. He's up there with one of the quickest in the World Cup, definitely, and he's going to put pressure on the goalkeeper. He does exactly that there. And Shabir, as you say, just a little bit of a shaky moment, and then they failed to clear their lines, Egypt, and they have to be careful.
Forward they come though now in speed down the left hand side. Mamouche finds a little bit of space away from the penalty area. Egypt working out onto this left hand side. Hafez again with it, finds Mamouche, tries a little 1-2 around the corner of the box, but too many Australian defenders around, and then there's a foul by Irvine, and that will be a free kick as the man called Zico crashes to the floor on this occasion, and it will be a free kick. And again, it looked like a little bit of overstretching this time from Irvine, catches the toe end of Zico.
Yeah, a little bit scrappy from both sides really. Australia couldn't get the ball away. Egypt couldn't really put a move together. They were just sort of fighting to burst through that back line of Australia. In the end, they get themselves a free kick, a set piece opportunity. A first time for us to see a Mohamed Salah delivery this evening. It's from a really good position, but you just look in the area, look at the size of some of those Aussie boys. Steve, Irvine is massive. I mean, you don't need to say that Souta's massive, we know that, don't we? But so many of them, it's going to be difficult for Mohamed Salah to find someone if he goes for the cross.
Yeah, there's a long defensive line of yellow just outside the 6-yard box, spreading virtually from one post to the other. The Egyptian players a little further away as Salah tries the back heel, changes the angle. The shot does come in, but it's blocked away on this occasion before Ashour's effort can reach the goal. Egypt still in possession towards the far post. There's Ashour, heads it home. Has the flag stayed down? It has. And Ashour races away to celebrate the goal. He got the first shot in that was blocked. And then when the ball came back in, he was the first one to react to the far post, heads it down, and Egypt lead by a 1-0.
Yeah, I don't think that's exactly what they were looking for from that set piece, Steve. It didn't really work out as that shot was blocked away, but they did so well just to rework the opportunity, and it is that man, as you say, Ashour, who took the initial effort, gets on the end of the cross as well. It's a brilliant delivery, isn't it? Lofted, really nice, really sweet towards the back post, and it's not a simple header by any stretch of the imagination. Ashour just gets it in the corner though, cushions it into the back of the net. After a pretty good period there for Australia, and of course they have hit the bar. It is the Pharaohs that go in front.
Yeah, see the replay again. Lucas Harrington, the young defender, was left a little hanging inside the penalty area by the rest of his team in yellow, and he was the one who inadvertently played on the Egyptian goal scorer at the far post. It's a really good header, had plenty to do. The ball not coming in at great pace, and the ball headed home. In there, as we see Hossam Hassan on the sideline, the old striker, trying to head it in himself before the cross came in, and then saying to his side, "Okay, settle down, we've got a goal, but that's it."
Yeah, I mean, he's got brilliant pedigree as well,
Absolutely.
Steve. 177 caps, 69 goals for his country, so he knows what he's doing with that feigned header. But yeah, really good moment that, isn't it, for Egypt? I was just saying before the game kicked off, a lot of news outlets saying, this is the second ever knockout match for Egypt at a World Cup, but really it's their first, because the first one that they had, there wasn't a group stage back then.
Yeah.
So it really is the first knockout game. It's the first time that they've got through the group stage, and it's been a brilliant start.
Yeah, strong start after a strong start from the Australians, to be fair to them. They were lucky not to go in front with the shot that flicked the top of the crossbar. Now they have to battle back from a goal behind. They come forward here, throw into the box, flicked on. The initial shot is blocked, second shot comes in, but it's well across the face of goal in the end. Doesn't need anybody in either shirt. As the strike from O'Neill ended up flashing across the penalty area. Replay from the referee's view of the chaotic scenes to some extent inside the Egyptian penalty area, but they managed to get enough bodies in the way and clear it out. But again, a little warning that balls into the area. You talked about the strength and height from a defensive point of view in there. Interesting, Egypt scored from a header at the far post, and then you see it again there in terms of the threat from the long throw into the Egyptian box.
Yeah, I think the goal was all about Egypt just staying calm, staying patient, and Australia didn't really sort of react to that second phase of play, did they? Once they blocked the shot, they thought it was job done. They didn't really react to where the players that took the free kick, Salah and the goal scorer Ashour, were and where they were moving, and I think that's what resulted in Ashour being pretty free really at the back post. But you're absolutely right, they still have that opportunity going forward, Australia, to use some of that strength and that verticality to really hurt Egypt here.
Trying to get forward here, blocked out though, just too many red shirts around. The ball's up towards Ashur again, who is quickly closed down on this occasion. O'Neill comes in the opposite direction, but Egypt quick in the challenge and forcing the mistake from Metcalf over on that right hand side. It's worked into a central position. Mustafa Ziko has it. Long clearance downfield again. He's quickly over onto his left hand side from Marmoush. Lovely first touch from him. Second touch not so good. Gets the shot in. It rattles off the chest of Suter, who didn't know anything about it really. He was covering in behind a fellow defender. It smashes the big central defender in the chest, and probably fortunately it did, Tom, because that looked like it was heading top corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Really good defensive block that I mentioned. Again, the height of those big centre halves, but they did well to move their feet there and get in front of that effort. Just seen the ball go up there to Iran Kunda, who's been really starved of possession. I don't actually think he's touched the ball, Steve. If he has, it's been sort of in passing. It's just been maybe a one touch and then move it on, but he's not had anything to go after at the other end of the field.
Egypt in front then on 16 minutes. Ashur with his second goal of the tournament so far, scored in the 1-1 draw against Belgium in the first game, and now he's back in again in terms of the round of 32. Lovely flick header for the man who plays his football at Al Ahly in Egypt, and on the score sheet again for his side. The ball worked out on this left hand side for Karim Hafez, goes back into his own half, and Egypt of course now can take the pace out of the game. And so yes, Ibrahim just rolls it back to his goalkeeper, and Egypt taking control now. Said that first 5 minutes, maybe up towards 10 minutes, certainly the case that the Australians had the better of the game and the chances. But over the last 7 or 8 minutes, Egypt have turned it around, got the goal very quickly in that spell, and find themselves in front as the ball dropped in deep again. Looking towards Atia. Moves it out onto his right hand side. Fatih forward towards Hani. Long ball over the top from him, looking to use the pace of Marmoush down that right hand side. A little bit overhit on this occasion. In fact, it was, my apologies, Mustafa Ziko was over there, over on the right, slotting in. Marmoush seems to have moved more out onto this left hand side actually since the early stages. It's a fluid three between them, isn't it? Sometimes it's Salah up front, sometimes it's Zico, sometimes it is Marmoush, and the three of them causing problems by that movement for this Australian defence. Yeah,
and I think maybe Mohamed Salah more than most will be grateful for that, Steve, just to give him a little bit of a break. Doesn't, if he's a central striker, he doesn't have to work back as much. They aren't really pressing similar to Australia in that sort of defensive third of theirs, so they don't have to worry. Salah doesn't have to worry about pressing. It's a little bit of a rest. I'm only saying that, of course, because he only recently passed fit. He's probably still not 100%.
Come back to that in a moment. He's out of possession since the goal. Egypt have changed how they're playing across that front three as the ball ricochets around inside the attacking third. It looks like the decision has finally been given as a goal kick on that occasion, but a discussion between the referee and his assistant as it ricocheted around. Well, that clearly was a corner. It came off the arm inadvertently, no deliberate handball. The decision is incorrect. But as we know, if memory serves, from a VAR point of view, they can correct a corner given to the strikers, but can't give a corner given against the defender, if that makes sense. So if it's wrong, never quite sure why. If you're going to do it, do both. What difference does it make? But anyway, somebody will tell me. And if Pierluigi Collina is the man telling me, I will agree with whatever he says, quite frankly. For those of you old enough to remember his refereeing career, you will certainly know why that is the case. Yeah, the greatest referees of all time.
If you don't know the name, you probably know the hairstyle, Steve.
Or you know the EA Sports front cover. Yes. I suspect the only referee ever to appear on the front of one of those, which gives you an idea of what we talked about in that sense as well. But anyway, he's the overseer of FIFA's refereeing team. And 20 minutes gone at the moment. No need for the referee to get involved, particularly in this game, which has flowed pretty nicely. Egypt leading by a goal to nil and in possession just inside their own half on the halfway line. Might have been Pro Evo who's on the front. I'm actually thinking about it. It was one or the other.
They're all one and the same, Steve, I think.
Too old to remember now which one it was. As the ball is worked in midfield, I will have played it. Ball back towards the defensive third of the field for Egypt again, as Yasser Ibrahim rolls it forward. Then it's quickly on the attack, ball over the top. And they got a chance here with Zico to get in possession of the ball, but he puts the shot wide. May well have been offside anyway. And yes, the flag goes up in the end. I thought he looked like he'd gone early when we saw the camera pan across to where he was. Again, he just found a little seam in between defenders. It wasn't that much. Looking at the left back on that far side, as Asis Behic was coming back, may have closed him down, but I think he was just offside.
Yeah, I think he was, and the reason is, Steve, is because he doesn't expect the ball. He sort of trundles around the corner, the other side of the defender, and he has a look up and he realises that the ball's actually been played over the top, and he gives chase, but he is offside. If he hadn't been, Mamouche has the right to be absolutely fuming with him, because he was steaming in towards his left-hand side. It would have been a simple pass, and a player of his quality, you expect him to score. He didn't. He shot and it went wide. So luckily for the both of them, it was offside.
Here comes Behic down that left-hand side, looking for a little bit of space. Can't find it at the moment. He does have possession with Suter. He threads the ball into midfield. Volpato picks it up, manages to keep his feet under pressure, gets out on the left-hand side. Cross comes in, but it's half charged down, still not properly clear, and eventually goes behind for a corner as the goal scorer Emam Ashur gets back and gets in the way, but can't keep the ball in play. So another set-piece opportunity then for the Socceroos, as they bring the big guns up from the defensive positions again.
Yeah, they have to make the most of this one, Steve. The last one they went short, and it's not a bad idea. You know, we've seen that work, but the ball back from Volpato from O'Neill just wasn't good enough, and that's where they got caught out. This has to come into the area, you think.
Buskew on the edge of the penalty area at the moment. Four Australian defenders are now all split off as the ball comes long towards the far post. Harrington does manage to get his head to it, but he was always stretching, and in the end the ball spins high up into the air off the young central defender and behind for a goal kick. Referee having a good look at his watch, and I thought he might do. Gustavo Teixeira says that's enough in terms of the first quarter of the game. Let's be honest about how we describe this now, as the hydration break comes into play. Egypt leading by a goal to nil. Emam Ashur's second goal of the tournament, separating the two sides. Good finish it was, with a flick header from a corner, from a cross I should say, when his initial free kick was blocked out on the opposite side of the penalty area. Nearest Australia have come. Volpato's shot from 25 yards that brushed the top of the crossbars. It flashed over Mustafa Shabir's goal. And Egypt, I think, after the first 5 or 6 minutes, probably deserving of this one-goal lead.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. There's been that one moment of excitement for Australia with that effort coming off the top of the crossbar. But outside of that, they haven't really had much. I know Jordan Boss went on that run, but that didn't really lead anywhere. That corner just a few minutes ago, not the greatest ball in, was it? When you've got the likes of Harrington and Suter, who are absolutely huge, and Irvine as well, you have to put a better ball in than that, and it was too far at the back post, and it eventually went over the top. But yeah, Egypt, I think, a deserved lead, only narrowly. They haven't been brilliant themselves. They haven't exactly cut Australia apart. They've struggled, I think, really to sort of break them down, but that reworked free kick effort, Australia didn't react defensively. Egypt were really patient and picked the right ball, and as you said, it was a really good header from a short into the back of the net, and Egypt in front.
You've seen replays now of him just after the goal, getting a big hug, not surprisingly, from his coach Hossam Hassan, who's Tom already alluded to, knows his way to goal from his playing career. He's actually one goal in front of Mo Salah at the moment in terms of the all-time goal-scoring charts for Egypt, so a couple from Salah tonight would take him back past his head coach, as Tony Popovic, the more vocal at least in the early stages, although Hossam Hassan has now got his clipboard out and is scribbling away and pointing at everybody around him in terms of where they need to be. From an attacking point of view, I was just going to say, out of possession of the ball for a few moments, they'd gone to a kind of formation which saw Salah up front, Mustafa Zico just in behind him, and then Marmouche and Ashur both playing out wide on left and right as a sort of front four, and then out of possession, immediately dropping those three deep. So they play a three across midfield behind Salah and in front of the two holding players, Fathi and Atiyah. Seems to be the option out of possession now, although Hossam Hassan, as we say, looks like he's changing something tactically here. And it was quite intense and quite detailed what he was telling his players. Whether he's confused them or not, we'll find out over the next couple of minutes as the two sets of players come back out after the hydration break then into the air-conditioned atmosphere of the stadium in Arlington, home of the Dallas Cowboys. And to take you through to half-time, Tom will take us there.
Cheers, Steve. Yeah, thank you very much. 26 minutes into the game. Australia 0, Egypt 1. The Socceroos behind against the Pharaohs. It's been a good start to the game then for the African team. Australia, by the way, the last remaining representative of Asia. Not actually in Asia, but that is the federation that they play under. That's the one that they qualified through. And that, of course, opened the door, didn't it, for New Zealand to feature in this tournament. They have unfortunately crashed out, finished bottom of Egypt's group, actually. Egypt beat New Zealand 3-1, their only victory so far, but they are unbeaten Egypt. 1-1 draw against Iran and a very respectable 1-1 draw against Belgium, who of course overcame a 2-0 deficit against another African side in Senegal in the round of 32 a couple of nights ago. I switched that one off when it was 2-0. That was a mistake, wasn't it?
Fantastically. Well, for 85 minutes, to be fair, it didn't look like it was going to be anything else than a Senegal win, did it? Because Belgium were absolutely awful in that game, and then finally woke up for 5 minutes with Lukaku and others suddenly finding the batteries again and the on switch.
Yeah, you got to pick your moments and with the times, and I thought I'd done well there, but no switching off in this one, because I think there's certainly something in this for Australia. These two very well matched so far, and here they come with Metcalf down the left-hand side. He's all alone, and in the end he's overran it. He goes out for an Egypt throw about midway through their own territory. Australia 0, Egypt 1. Shaw's second international goal separating the two sides. Plays his football in Egypt for Al Ahly. He's one of 5 in the 11 this afternoon that play for the team from Egypt. And quite a few players that play in that domestic league as well. A couple from Pyramids in Zico and Hafez, the two players on that left-hand side. And the centre-half Rabia plays in the UAE with Al Ain, a Qatari-based player in Fatih as well. Of course, Marmoush of Manchester City, and Mohamed Salah. I think still technically a Liverpool player. I don't think the contract's exactly run out just yet, but it is due to, if it hasn't already, and many a report suggests that he's off to the Saudi Pro League, which team that is in particular we're not sure. But it's Egypt in front here, and they're in possession inside enemy territory. They go back over halfway, over towards that far side for Mohamed Hani. He plays it forward. This is lovely football from Egypt, actually. Marmoush holds it up, does well. One-touch stuff here from Egypt, still in relatively safe distance from the goal from an Australia perspective. Here's the goal scorer, a short. Now Mohamed Salah slows things down to a walk. A little bit of pressure on him from Metcalf, just forces the ball backwards from Egypt. You mentioned the hydration break. The Egypt manager, Hassan, was giving detailed instructions by the looks of it. It seemed to me Popovic, the Australia coach, it was a little bit more of a rousing, wasn't it? It's been a couple minutes now since the hydration break. We haven't really seen anything different from them yet.
No, as you say, it felt like a little bit of trying to get some energy back into his side, both in terms of the rehydration and also the messaging as well, as you say, whereas Hassan's briefing was clearly very detailed technically. You know, he got the board out, he was pointing out different things. He'd have about 3 or 4 players. It was mainly those in the kind of attacking third that he was talking to, and I suspect that's in terms of how they're going to defend now that they've got themselves in front, rather than how they're going to attack perhaps in this kind of scenario. But it was very pointed, in contrast, as you say, to the more general rabble-rousing of Popovic, who, you know, if he looks back to the first 5 or 6 minutes of this game, he sees the template for how to get Australia back on the front foot. The difference is that Egypt are playing much more comfortably now in possession of the ball and really stopping the Aussies from getting much possession anywhere outside the defensive third, really.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say the goal has certainly given them some confidence as well, Egypt. We saw that in that latest move as Steve was talking us through. Lovely one-touch passing. And the ball over the top for Marmoush, just a little bit too heavy. It's gone out for a goal kick. Australia 0, Egypt 1. Half an hour gone. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio-based commentary at the moment then. Although there's plenty of football left to be played, it will be Egypt that go through to the round of 16. The winner will play the winner of Argentina versus Cape Verde in Atlanta, 5 o'clock on the 7th of July. As we see shots on our screens of Mohamed El Neni, the former Egypt and Arsenal midfielder, and then a shot of Samuel Jackson. He's not played for Egypt, but he is there at the AT&T or the Dallas Stadium, whatever you want to call it. Here's Hafez. It's a ball backwards towards his centre-half Rabia, which is just a little bit short, puts him under some trouble, and the ball is won back by Australia. Then Iran Kuda goes down. A collision with Egypt's Hani leads to a free kick for Australia. Still, Iran Kuna yet to really get involved. We've seen him now. We see the pace that he's got, Steve, just to get in front of the defender and wins a free kick.
Yeah, clear foul, no question about that in terms of the challenge from Yasser Ibrahim, who comes across. It was a rather unfortunate collision then with Hani as he rolls away. Hani's running back defensively, and actually he's going to need some treatment here. He's took a real wide that's, I think, giving him a bit of a problem with the knee, maybe a twist of the knee, purely accidental, as you say. Iran Kunda just fell to the floor under the challenge. His momentum made him sort of roll over a couple of times, not because he was trying to play it up at all, just the angles, etc., and he couldn't stop himself. And unfortunately, Hani racing back to defend, got a clattering, and is certainly in some pain at the moment. It's like a little bit of treatment required. See it again here. Gets stood right on the side of the knee, doesn't he, actually, as the player came across. As I said, purely accidental, and Kunda was actually looking the other way. Just his momentum and the swing of his leg just unfortunately caught the Egyptian. Yeah,
the Watford man had no idea that he was even there. And as the two players came together, 32 minutes on the clock. Australia 0, Egypt 1. It's Imam Ashar who has put Egypt in front, and Mohamed Hani is back to his feet now. He should be okay to continue. It's light grazing for him to contend with, but a free kick for the Aussies, about 20 yards maybe from the edge of the area, and it's almost in line with the byline on the left hand side, so it's certainly a crossing opportunity. You would think it would favour a right footer if they want to swing it towards goal, or a left footer if they're looking for contact and a header. It will be the left footer, and it comes towards the penalty spot. The heads go up, there's a flick at goal, it's still in the air. Irvine battles for it, a swipe towards goal by the fullback, and it's a simple one in the end for the goalkeeper to collect, but the referee's actually blown his whistle anyway. I think it was Jackson Irvine's intervention that has caused the whistle to be blown. That will be a free kick to Egypt.
Yeah, there's actually a couple of Egyptian defenders down in the penalty area, but yeah, Irvine just trying to get across and get there first, didn't do so, collided with the defender, who did head it away actually in the form of Mohamed Hani, rather I should say Rami Rabia, as Mohamed Hani looks ready to come back onto the field on the far side. But as you say, a little bit messy again from Australia though, wasn't it, in terms of the ball in. Didn't really hit the men they wanted to. It ended up just being a little kind of flick header really from Chikati, really. It was never going to threaten the goal, and after that he was just trying to pick up the scraps that might have fallen to them.
Ball over the top there for Egypt, a little bit heavy, as Steve mentioned. Mohamed Hani back on the field now, 34 minutes on the clock. Australia 0, Egypt 1, and the Aussies in possession. Enjoyed a little bit of it since the 30th minute and just before, as they come forward now. Here's Suter into halfway for Aidan O'Neill. Plays his football in America. He's one of three in this starting. He's one of three in the squad that play their football in the USA. Out towards that left-hand side now for Metcalf. He's going to have a run at his man. Takes it onto the left-hand side. Swings the ball into the area. It's a little bit heavy. It will be kept alive though on the other side by Jordan Boss. Shifts it onto his left boot, then goes backwards. Support now comes in. Boss is still up there. He's trying to be found there around the corner. Egypt deal with it. Now they'll look to break, but they've given the ball away. O'Neill is there to break play up. And then the challenge comes in from Zico doing some defensive work, and it's out for an Australia throw. A little bit better though from the Aussies.
Yeah, a little bit more pressure, isn't it? They're getting a few players forward out wide now, trying to stretch this Egyptian side out and find spaces because Egypt looking really solid through those central areas. So probably the right idea from Australia is the throw-in will come in.
Yeah, throw-in comes in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Irvine goes up, Harrington's in there, he wins the header. Iran Kunda battling for it at the back stick. Has to poke it back towards the edge of the area where the strike comes in from Metcalf. It's low, it's well drilled, but it's easily collected by Mustafa Shabir. but it is a shot on target from the Aussies, and they'll be certainly able to take some confidence from the last few minutes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the whole half in that sense so far in terms of shots on target, it's been better from Australia in terms of efforts around goal at the moment. So, yeah, okay, one flicked the crossbar rather than actually, technically speaking, hitting the target, but they've come closest to actually getting a goal beyond the strike from Egypt. For all the possession and real control of the game over the last 20 minutes, it's not been the case that Egypt have been battering the door down of this Australian defence, which has dealt with everything really comfortably once it's got to the penalty area.
Yeah, you get the sense that Australia are timing this potentially just right. 10 minutes to go before the break. Egypt aren't going to be desperate for a second before half time. They might just be sitting back a little bit more as the final 10 minutes of the first half plays through. Australia looking to take advantage of that. Here's Jackson Irvine with the ball at his feet really for the first time in the game, 36 minutes in. Over the top from Jordan Boss, looking for Irankundo, nearly got there in front of the goalkeeper. Shabir, not the greatest starting position, did make up for it and clutches the ball off the toes of Irankundo. And that was again much better. Just a slight pull on Irankundo, I think, slowed him down, Steve.
Yeah, Yasser Ibrahim got all ends up on the wrong side of Irankundo there and ended up having to battle with him without actually fouling him. He was rather fortunate to do so, and that's why Shabir stayed back, because he expected his defender to deal with it, because there was a defender there, didn't need to come out. It was because Yasser Ibrahim made a real mess of it, really, from covering the only Australian striker up there, that it left the goalkeeper then in that difficult position.
That's brilliant from Volpato. Wins himself a free kick just inside the opposition half. Plays his football in Italy. He's one of those Italian Australians. Plays for Sassuolo. You'd argue either he maybe or Alessandro Ciccarti or maybe Jordan Boss play at the highest level, if you will. Of course, in the top flight in Italy, and Jordan Boss plays for Feyenoord in the Eredivisie. Ciccarti plays his football for Parma. Here they come again down the right hand side. Metcalfe gives chase. Jordan Boss on the end of it, tries to swing a ball in, that's blocked, and that's out for another Aussie corner. They really are turning the screw here in the 38th minute. They look very, very good across the last 10 or so.
Yeah, Boss again showing his quality in terms of from the attacking side down this right hand side. Ball squirmed away and he was onto it quickly. Great covering tackling by Marwan Attia to cover in behind his fullback and make the challenge. Good job he was, really, because they were struggling to keep up there.
Ball in the area from Volpato, high towards the back post, nodded down. Bit of confusion between centre half and goalkeeper as it's flicked away by Rabia, even though the goalkeeper Shabir did call for it. Luckily though, Egypt able to clear their lines fully. And it's all the way back now in the defensive third and now in the area for Australia. Australia 0, Egypt 1. 38 and a bit minutes gone. But the Aussies certainly with their tails up. As Harrington has it. He's the youngest Australian player to start a knockout game in the World Cup for the Socceroos. 18 years, 301 days old. Plays his football. He's one of the 3, by the way, that play in the MLS. He plays for the Colorado Rapids. It's only his 6th appearance for his country. As the long ball doesn't quite work out, goes through to Egypt's goalkeeper. Ball's out towards the left-hand side for Rabia. Goes back towards Shabir. He takes another little risk. Manages to get away with it, though. Plays it into the feet of Attia, and then out towards that far side where Hani has it. He's shrugged that injury off, by the way. Forward he comes, steps on the ball, slows things down. Here's Salah on halfway, who again slows things to a walk. I think Egypt now, Steve, just want a little bit of the ball after sort of being under the cosh the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, just need to get back in control, don't they? Since the hydration break, certainly Australia have slowly come back a little stronger. It didn't happen straight away, as we mentioned, with Tony Popovic's rallying call for his side. Didn't really seem to make much difference in the early stages after that stoppage, but since then they certainly dominated possession of the ball. Egypt have hardly been able to get onto it, particularly in midfield and the attacking third, although of course you have the Australians in front in front in terms of possession around the penalty area so far, even though on the score sheet it is Egypt who lead as the goal scorer. Ashior is left on that far side. Yeah, accidental hand, a bit of holding off on that occasion by Boss. Put his arm out to push the player away, inadvertently caught him on the chin. It will be a free kick, I think, though, to Egypt, and obviously from a free kick they managed to get their only shot on target so far that's created the goal.
Yeah, sure. His header, the difference with 5 minutes to go in normal time, of course, plus the obligatory 3 minutes added on and then some, as Mohamed Salah stands over it, as does Ashur. Both players with their arms in the air at the moment. A right footer in Ashur, a left footer in Mohamed Salah. Disguised in the sense that we don't know who's going to take this one. Salah's frustrated. I think he's waiting for the referee to give the all clear. He's also frustrated, I think, that Iran Kunda doesn't quite look 10 yards away from the ball, in his opinion. The referee's eyeballed it and asked Iran Kunda to take a couple of steps back, which he has now done. And it will be Salah to play it in towards a central position. Fired into the area by Marmoush towards the back stick, headed away only as far though as the byline on the right hand side for Australia. It's then dealt with pretty comfortably and it's cleared away. The flag's gone up anyway, so it will be a free kick for offside. But again, they look dangerous, don't they, Steve, from set pieces?
Yeah, which is strange, as we said, because you expected the Australians to be able to deal with it, but what Egypt are doing is, first off, for the goal, it was rather inadvertent in terms of how the chance to cross for a second time came about, but they put a decent ball into the area with the Australians not quite having reset, and that time they totally changed the angle. Everybody expecting Salah to whip one in towards the penalty area from that right hand side. They played it back instead towards Ati, who then lifted it into the penalty area eventually to try and change the angle. Didn't work because there was an offside flag up on that occasion, and Australia dealt with it anyway. But it's interesting to see the free kick tactics from both sides so far. But set piece opportunities, Australia, they've had a few, haven't created anything though into that goal area.
Yeah, Egypt on their current current unbeaten streak in the World Cup history for them. 3 games without defeat is the best that they've done at a World Cup. And there's another man down here for Egypt. 42 minutes on the clock. Australia 0, Egypt 1. The referee just in conversation with Rabia and Fatih. Here's the defender Yasser Ibrahim, who's gone down. He was the unlikely, or rather unnecessary recipient of yet another stray boot from Iran Kunda, who making a bit of a habit. It's almost like a special move that he's got there, Iran Kunda. He's again rolled over and caught the player. Doesn't mean anything, of course, untoward, the Watford man. The Egyptians frustrated nonetheless, but play is able to continue. A throw in on the right hand side. Mohamed Hani will take it. 46th cap for his country this evening. Fires it down the line after he got the ball back. It's headed on by Suter, out for a throw in now for Australia. Metcalf collides with Fatih, but Egypt have got the ball. Sorry, Australia have got the ball out towards the right hand side, touched into the centre. Here's Irvine into the toes of Kikati, down the line, pocket picked. Last touch off Zico, out for a throw in for Australia, who are slowly coming towards the last chance saloon in terms of this first 45 minutes. We're into the 44th now as Suter has it to Alessandro Kikati of Parma, born in Italy, to Italian parents, moved to Australia at the age of 1, and now playing for their national team, and largely considered one of the generational talents in the last few years for the Socceroos. Seen little of him in this game though so far. Here's Mohamed Hani. Egypt keep the ball well when they've got it. I think Australia, if they are going to get the ball back, Steve, in the latter stage of this game, they are going to have to come out their shell and press a little bit more, because if Egypt don't want to come forward, they're pretty comfortable with it, aren't they?
Yeah, they're lacking quality in the final third, really, this Australian side, aren't they? As maybe we kind of expected might be the case. But yeah, they've got to find a way to get onto the front foot. Too many times they're losing possession as they get into the attacking third, but then Egypt are doing the same. The game's kind of stuck between both defences at the moment, because neither side seems to have the, surprisingly from an Egyptian point of view, doesn't quite have the quality around sort of from 25 yards out onwards to be able to get into that space. So it's an interesting little kind of chess match at the moment as to Australia, because you can't gamble too far at this stage of the game. You know, maybe a little before half time you might want to test the risk. There's 5 minutes of stoppage time to be played, but it doesn't feel like Australia can come out of the shells really at this stage. It would have to be maybe after the 55-60 minutes really.
We're 5 minutes then, as Steve mentioned, into stoppage time. So just 2 added on for the usual 3 at the end of the first half. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent studio-based commentary. Australia 0, Egypt 1. Forward come the Pharaohs. Here's Marmoush down the left-hand side. He's got Kakachi to beat. He's got some support down the line from Zico. Hafez has it now, and then Marmoush once again. Infield to Attia over the top, looking for Salah, who flicks it on with his head. And it might go down as a shot on target there for Mohamed Salah, but it was a comfortable collection in the end for Patrick Beach, who in truth has had very little to do outside of not being able to stop the only goal of the game. But again, they moved it quickly in the final third there, Steve, and the side in Australia, who, as I say, only conceded 2 goals in the group stage, looked a little bit open there. I'll get your thoughts on that in just a second. As the ball goes down the right hand side, opportunity to cross, it's not taken. Shot comes in from the edge of the area, but that was never going towards goal. Volpato it was, who did hit the bar earlier on, drags that one wide.
Yeah, he should have been first time ball around the back of the defender, looking at the run of Irankunda in the middle, who was in space and ahead of the defender behind him. And in the end, Volpato, he's got a chance of a shot, but actually he's got 2 players inside him as well that he could easily have rolled the ball to on the edge of the penalty area to find space. And Osama Saad is very irate on the sideline, looking at his side, because he knows that they shouldn't have given away that space. There were plenty of defenders back there, and they didn't close down quickly enough and gave the opportunity to the Australians to get the strike in. But at the moment, again, it's just that poor choice really around the penalty area. As you said, he's hit the bar once, probably thinks he can score from anywhere, and that wasn't the best option.
Here comes Irvine out towards the right hand side for Boss. Good touch away from Zico, but Australia still have it on halfway. They need to get the ball forward in the next few minutes if they want to draw level before the break. Here's Harrington forward, then to Metcalf. Now Volpato loses out. Metcalf back on the end of it. Irvine once again. Now here's Kikati, ball into the area, deep towards the back post. No header there by Ashur. He went up for it, but couldn't make contact. That allows O'Neill to pick the scraps up. Then it's into the area. That looks dangerous towards Irankunda, who just about wins the header. He wants a handball as it trickles through to the goalkeeper. Not the cleanest connection there from Irankunda. There's a man down for Egypt. Referee says play on. That was lovely stuff though from the Aussies. As the ball goes forward out towards that right hand side, and Australia will have it once again. It wasn't a clean contact, was it? The referee has just paused play. He's going to check something. The VAR is going to check something, probably is more accurate. Potential handball, Steve? Yeah,
they were complaining about that. No, it's purely accidental, absolutely. Irankunda tries to get ahead and he's battling with 2 defenders, and he does get his head to it, but he's kind of offset by the buffeting that he's getting from those defenders. Can't get the header towards goal, and it flicks off the arm of the defender behind him. Rami Rabia was in there making the challenge, purely accidental, and his arm was down by his side as he went up for the header, so no issues there. Referee quickly gets the nod from VAR that we're okay, and we're well back underway.
Australia 0, Egypt 1. About a minute and a half remaining in this first half. It's cleared away by Egypt. Interestingly, we mentioned that this is Egypt's first real game in the knockout stages. It's the first time they've qualified through the group. It's Australia's 3rd. On the previous 2 occasions, they lost against both eventual winners of those respective competitions. Italy beat them in 2002. Argentina beat them in 2022. I don't know if Egypt will win the tournament if they beat Australia, but at the moment they are winning against them. Here's Irankunda as a man down for Australia, but the Watford player still got it towards the edge of the area. Volpato opens up, tries to turn it away, then tries to swing a ball in. No real conviction in the clearance from Egypt as it's nodded towards the edge of the box where Omar Mamouche picks it up. And then there is a proper clearance from the Egyptians. It hits the back of Mohamed Salah, who just tried to allow it to roll over him. And it's all a little bit frantic towards the end of this first half as Australia have got it back once again. Closing stages of the first half, and O'Neill has it. One more opportunity potentially, is it, for the Socceroos? Jordan Boss is down, by the way. He's still down. He's complaining towards the referee. The Aussies have not put it out. Kakachi then has a look and then does swing the ball out of play, because I think the player he wanted to play it to is Jordan Boss, who's down and seems to be in some discomfort as well.
Yeah, there's no reason for him to stay down there at all, really. It's a challenge, and then he unfortunately kind of runs into the defender who slides across. No foul at all. It's a good tackle as the challenge comes in from Rami Rabia, but it kind of twists the knee as they slide in. His suit is in there complaining at the official on his near side, but I don't think there's any foul there at all. I think actually he gets the ball and actually slips, loses his footing and collides with the Australian player. And in fact, I think the referee might have brought the half to an end while they were waiting for that. They are. So as the half ends, he's left on the floor, Jordan Boss, to get some more treatment. As time runs out and Egypt have the advantage at the break, they lead by 1-0. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box, was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behic's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah to Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break. Then the only goal of the first half. A free kick shot from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right-hand side of the box. Was lifted back in, and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal, clipping the top of a crossbar from 25 yards out. Half-time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salato Ashur. His effort was blocked. It went all the way across to the right hand side of the box. Was lifted back in and Ashur was first to react. It came back in and flick a header into the bottom corner. Other than that, it's been Australia who've had the better chances. Behich's shot fairly comfortably saved by Shabir, but Volpato before Egypt's goal clipping the top of the crossbar from 25 yards out. Half time, Australia 0, Egypt 1. Egypt with a slight advantage at the break then. The only goal of the first half. A free kick short from Salah. Well, welcome back for the second half of our coverage then of this World Cup encounter in the round of 32. Involving Australia and Egypt. We're underway, and Egypt straight forward into the penalty area. Oh, there's a good chance for Marmoush, and he puts it wide, literally from the kickoff. They play the ball forward, quick flick into the path of Marmoush, and it should have been 2-0, absolutely no question. He gets around the back of the defenders, tries to curl the ball into the bottom corner, and by that time it is a foot wide of the left-hand upright, and Marmoush smashes the ground in frustration because he should have doubled Egypt's lead. I'm Steve Pearson, the independent off-tube studio man for this game, alongside Tom Wilson. And Tom hadn't even caught his breath, and all of a sudden we're seeing the first chance of the second half.
Yeah, and probably should have seen the second goal of the game, Steve, as you mentioned. And he's certainly capable of finishing from there, from that sort of angle. I just think maybe the defender does just enough in the end, Steve. Just gets in behind him, puts him off. There's a little bit of contact there, certainly not enough for a penalty, but enough to put the Man City man off, and in the end it's off target and it's out of play. But it's a little bit of a lifeline really for Australia, because they should potentially have been behind there.
It certainly should have been. There's a problem here for Irankunda of Australia. I don't think he needs any treatment at the moment. We're not quite seeing the replay of what happened to him. Here we are. Yeah, just got a little bit of a nudge on, but I didn't really get off the floor as Yasser Ibrahim came in to challenge, and then accidentally got a little foot on the back of the calf as the two landed, I think. But no major harm done. And the Australian striker is back up onto his feet, and will now be ready for the free kick that came from another challenge just before that, over on the right hand side. Australia don't seem to be quite sure what they're doing unless it's a deliberate tactic. They do manage to find Suter on the far corner of the penalty area with a free kick, but his header is easily cleared away, knocked back in again. Suter again wins the header this time, and Nkunda goes up for the challenge. Irvine knocks it down. Egypt looking for a free kick that doesn't come as the ball's towards the far post. It comes off the back of the head of Metcalf as he throws himself in, and we've got a player down here and some immediate concern from the Egyptian players around him and from the referee to some extent as well, who's coming across. Mohamed Hani, I think it is, who has gone down, and there was certainly concern. He seemed to get a knock on the back of the head as everybody threw themselves in, and the physios and medical team very quickly onto the field here to deal with it. The Egyptian players still around. They are bringing a stretcher out just in case, because it looked like from the first angle is that Hani was at least temporarily knocked out there with the inadvertent whack on the back of the head that he got as everybody threw themselves at the ball, Tom.
Yeah, it was Metcalf coming in. I don't actually think he can see the ball, Steve, and I think that's really probably what ends up being the reason why he's collided with the Egyptian man, who's now just sat up. He is holding the back of his head, but you are right, he did appear to potentially have been unconscious there. He certainly wasn't moving for a few seconds. He is moving now, which is good to see, but I would be really surprised to see him continue in this game. And already just 3.5 minutes into the second half, we've had a chance which should have been a goal, and then a really nasty collision which might result in a substitution for Egypt.
Yeah, he's back up onto his feet. Looks a little bit groggy at the moment. Obviously, we'll take a very close look at him before he can come back onto the field. See the replay again here. Yeah, he has no idea the player's coming in behind him, and he gets a real whack on the back of the head. At the moment, and he's slowly walking over onto this right hand side. Surely he's got to go off though here to be checked. The referee is bringing the ball back, saying it's not a foul. Obviously it's just a goal kick. The ball went out and the collision was accidental. But at the moment it looks like Hani's been allowed to stay on the field, which I find, in fact the referee is actually telling him to go off now and get a little bit more checks done before he comes back on. The Egyptians trying to start play. The referee making clear that Hani's got to go off. And there's a lot of debate here on the sideline, I think, between the medical team about what the status is really of Mohamed Hani.
Should be no debate whatsoever, really, should there? You know, if he's unconscious even for a second, he has to go off. He cannot come back on. Surely he'll want to play, of course he will, but you know, we've been through this so many times, whether it's the Premier League, the Championship, or the Champions League, whatever games we cover, we always say the same thing as commentators, you know, and we can see it. And maybe the physios can't see it from where they are. We can see it on the TV screens that, you know, he wasn't right. He was potentially unconscious. He wasn't moving for a few seconds. There was obvious concern from the Egyptian players. I don't know why those players that were so concerned aren't then saying to the physios, look, this is what happened, don't bring him back on. Yeah, he's been brilliant in this game as Mohamed Hani, but he shouldn't be coming back on. But we'll wait and see. He is back on the pitch, but well, hopefully he's going to get substituted if he has been unconscious.
Yeah, fingers crossed he is okay, but as you say, certainly a concern that he may well not be, as Australia come forward again down the left hand side, and Emma Mashur is having to cover it right back at the moment, which slides in for the challenge. Ball cleared away eventually by Egypt from deep inside their own half, but they lose possession straight away. It comes back to Harrington again. The ball down the left hand side. It's all rather tight at the moment, no real space at all for Australia as they eventually get the ball back to Suter. Confirmation of a half-time sub for Australia. We didn't see anything on our screens or see the player actually come on, but you remember just before the half, if you were with us, Jordan Boss was injured in a collision just before half-time as the referee blew the whistle for the half-time break, and he's been replaced. Kai Truin has had to come on in his place, the New York City man who has also played for Melbourne and Brisbane in the Australian League. He's now onto the field, and he takes up his position in defence in place of Boss, who was quite influential in the early stages of the first half. Here come Australia down the right-hand side. Pato manages to get away from one challenge. He's surrounded by defenders. Ball work to Australia again though as the ball comes in towards the far post. Flicks off a defensive head. It will fall on this right hand side. Almost a little bit of space to get the ball in on that occasion for for O'Neill, I should say, rather. And eventually the challenge comes in and it's out of play for a throw in on this left hand side. O'Neill thinks it should be his throw, but the referee says no, it isn't. It's an Egyptian throw. It looks like Hani is back on the field. Looks like he's okay to carry on.
Yeah, I mean, we'll wait and see sort of if it affects his game, Steve. But as I say, if he had been unconscious, he shouldn't be on the pitch, and that should be so obvious for everyone. But let's wait and see. Hopefully he is okay. Maybe he was just flat out, but wasn't unconscious. We're not sure. But yeah, it's been after a pretty sleepy sort of opening minute with that chance for Mamouche. It's been a good reaction from Australia in this second half. I think we said to each other at half time, didn't we, that Egypt are in front, so the impetus isn't on them to get the next goal. It is on Australia, and it's going to bring them out their shell as the game goes on and on and on at 1-0. We'll have to see them come further and further forward, Australia. We'll have to see them take more risks, and that will only open the game up for Egypt as well.
Yeah, I certainly expect so. The consensus is that Egypt will go on to win this game, but Australia have shown enough in front of goal a couple of times so far in that first half, and there are opportunities potentially as Egypt give the ball away in the attacking third. Not an immediate chance, but Behic comes forward from defence, lifts the ball into the area. It's not a good one though, easily cleared away before it could find Irankunda. There's a simple clearance for Rami Rabia in the central defensive areas. 8 minutes gone in this second half, and the chance to bring you the two sides. So it's Beaching goal for Australia. Truin has come on out wide with Behic as the two wing backs. It's Chikati, Suter and Harrington are the back three. As O'Neill wins a free kick here in the attacking third for Australia. He's part of a midfield that involves Irvine, Volpato and Metcalf. And then Irankunda, as we've already mentioned, is leading the line for Australia this evening. For Egypt, Mustafa Shobair is in goal. Hani, Rabia, Yasser Ibrahim and Hafez across the back four. Fatih Atia, the holding players in midfield, Ashur the goal scorer, with Salah and Mustafa Ziko, and Omar Mamouche as the man leading the line, who's had the best chance of the second half so far, but put his shot just wide of the left-hand post when really he should have scored. And that's the nearest we've come to a goal in this second period so far. But Australia have a free kick in a threatening position wide on the left-hand side. Aidan O'Neill has it. He'll bend it in right-footed. Whips it in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, flick header on, and it's gone in. It may have come off a defender in the end. Suter is one who nearly got his head to it. He may have got a little flick, but I think that came on to a defensive head in the end for Egypt. We said set pieces might be key for this Australian side, and so they have proved. 10 minutes gone in the second half. Australia 1, Egypt 1.
Yeah, I think one of the key differences in this second half so far, Steve, is that Australia clearly trying to make use of their height and their vertical advantage, and that's exactly what has led to this goal. Just a couple of minutes before that cross wasn't good enough, was it, from the left hand side in towards that far post, but this one is brilliant, and it's in towards an area which is so dangerous, and you can see the height. You know, we've talked about Suter, and it's towards him, but is it a touch off the man who was just down a few minutes ago? It looks like it potentially could have been. It really could have hit anyone and gone in there, but I think the vital touch is off Mohamed Hani. Whether that's to do with his coming together a few minutes ago that left him seemingly unconscious, we're not sure, but either way it's a brilliant ball. It's a great moment for the Socceroos as well. It's 1-1. I think they've given as good as they've got in this game, Australia, and I think a draw so far is a fair result to this point.
Yeah, you can see the replay again. Hani was not the player marking Suter. He was behind him in a line of Egyptian defenders across the edge of the 6-yard box as the ball came in. But as it flashed over the head of Suter in front of him, it looked like the Australian captain didn't get a touch on it at all. It was just over the top of his head, but that blocked the view, I think, of Hani behind him, who ended up just flick-headering the ball inadvertently into his own goal. So it's certainly been an eventful first 10 minutes of the second half for Mohamed Hani. Just watching him now, he's in possession of the ball. He looks absolutely fine. I don't think any head injury contributed to the goal in any way. Whether he should still be on the pitch or not, we'll debate, I'm sure. But just an unfortunate incident, again, for the defender.
Yeah, I think it's just such a good ball in, and it's such a crowded edge of the 6-yard box that he can't see. I don't think Rabia can see either behind him, so it could have hit either of them and gone in. And because Suter's so big, if he stood in front of you, you're not going to be able to see. You probably wouldn't be able to see the sun, even if it was 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But yeah, it's a great ball in. and it's, as I say, a really good moment for Australia. I think it's been coming in the second half. They look much better. I would like to see them now kick on. I wouldn't want them to sit back and go back to how the game was at 0-0. I'd like Australia to kick on. You know, they've got their goal. The reason why they have is because they're pressing a little bit more to put Egypt under pressure, and they're also playing to their strengths, playing to their advantages. They're putting the ball into the area. They're bringing the big boys up from the back and causing problems with crosses. I'd like to see more of that, and I think they might go on and win the game if they do that.
The goal has been credited in some places as Suter, but the replay clearly shows that it wasn't, unfortunately, unless he did brush his hair. We might have to get snickometer out again like last night, see whether it just brushed the top of Suter's head and then Hani can claim it was going in anyway. It certainly looks like an own goal from the angles we've seen so far, although Hani will have no desire to claim the goal at all. That levels the game between these two sides. Suter's had to say the least, a disappointing season in terms of his club and the outcome of that season. But he's certainly showing his abilities and leadership for this Australian side in the knockout stages again, as Tom alluded to in the first half. They made a habit of that over the last couple of World Cups. And with Egypt aside, who only had that one victory over the other Southern Hemisphere side from that neck of the woods, New Zealand, it's certainly not been a side that have dominated any games particularly so far in the group stages. But have managed to rack up enough points for a second place at least into this part of the tournament. Forward they come now as Mamouche tries to get space for a shot. He rolls it to Salah on the edge of the area, surrounded by yellow shirts. No way through this time, and it's blocked away and cleared by Irvine up towards the halfway line. And it'll be tidied up at the back by Yasser Ibrahim. On that left hand side for Hafez. Inside to Atia. He comes forward where he finds a yellow wall of defenders all round him. No space at all to get forward. There's a whole group of Egyptian subs warming up at the moment. Hossam Hassan not at the moment, it appears, calling anybody back to the bench, but with an hour virtually on the clock and the two sides locked together, you wouldn't be surprised to see either side make changes now or at the end of the third quarter, of course, as we are only a few minutes away from that as well, I suppose. Have to think differently in this World Cup about where substitutions might be made. The usual hour mark is not necessarily as key as usual. As Nkunda tries to come forward here, he goes down under a challenge, rather dramatically rolls towards the sideline on this occasion. And again, it's the same two players again. Nkunda coming across the front of Yasser Ibrahim, almost the same challenge that we saw just before half time that created a foul, and it's done the same again. Yeah,
he's been in the wars, hasn't he? Nkunda in this game, he's spent more time on the ground, I think, than he has with the ball at his feet. The coach for Australia, Tony Popovic, has just come across. He's really frustrated. I think he feels that Nkunda's not exactly being protected. And the referee's potentially... Oh no, I thought he was going to come across and have a word with Popovic, and we might have seen a little bit of a head-to-head there, but no, he's just talking to O'Neill. And this is a similar sort of position, wasn't it, really, in terms of where the first goal came from. So if the delivery is the same, it potentially could cause a problem. It's a little bit further out, though.
Yeah, further out on the left-hand side. Defensive line on the edge of the box as O'Neill lifts it in towards the far post. He was looking for Suter or Harrington, but neither of them got there on this occasion. It's cleared away. Ball picked up by O'Neill as well to keep it in play. Onto his right foot, lifts a high ball into the area, headed away, but picked up by Irvine to Harrington. Lifts it back in first time. Can't find anybody in yellow though, but it's still not clear as the ball comes back in towards the penalty area. Eventually scrambled away as far as O'Neill, who will just hook one back on the edge of the box, headed away by Rabia. Still not clear though. Suter's still up there. He controls possession, and Australia have it back 35 yards from goal. Nkunda on the edge of the box. Had he turned around, he would have had space, but he didn't. Metcalf tries a first-time shot. Nkunda has it on the edge of the area. His effort is blocked away, and Egypt finally clear it downfield up towards the halfway line. Suter with the challenge. Referee says that's the foul, or possibly the next one. There were two challenges in there that may have been free kicks. And the referee gives the decision against Australia, and a breathing space for Egypt.
Yeah, some lovely football there from Australia. It's the best that they've looked, isn't it? An hour into the game. 1-2 touch passing. Maybe being allowed a little bit too much room. I think Egypt probably could have done a little bit better to go and close down the space. Certainly could have, pressed them to force a mistake a little bit sooner. They're just knocking it between themselves. Some really smart touches in there from players you maybe wouldn't expect. Suter with one, just flicking it around the corner. Irvine took a couple of those on the first touch. Harrington as well, who was still up there, had a really smart idea just to loft it back in first time. didn't come to anything. But yeah, Australia is certainly looking more confident, looking more comfortable, more composed. Egypt looked a little bit rattled in this second half, certainly since the goal.
Yeah, certainly has been a little different Egypt side in this second half. They started it really well with the effort from Marmouche. It went just wide, but since then it's been Australia who have largely dominated proceedings, not totally in that sense, but certainly Australia having the better of the encounter and having got the equaliser over the last 10 minutes or so. Ball worked out on that right hand side, no space at all for Egypt to find room. They'll roll it into a more central position. It's worked out to the goal scorer Ashur on this right hand side, into the feet of Salah, turns away on the edge of the box, rolls it out to Hani, but the flag has gone up for an offside against Mo Salah. It will be a free kick to Australia. Just to mark your card, one or two stories going around at the moment that FIFA's looking at a change of kickoff time for the Mexico-England game earlier on. There's a suggestion that it might move forward by around about 6 hours because of thunderstorm warnings. Well, that would take it to just about, early lunchtime in Mexico City. That'll be a bit warm.
I mean, the heat
compared to evening time.
The heat has been a talking point, hasn't it, at the World Cup, and I think it could potentially be the case of another one. But I'm sure there'll be a few England fans, many an England fan, who will be delighted with that news if it comes out and it turns out to be true. Steve, we'll wait and see.
Yeah, it is officially being looked at, but there's no confirmation that anything will be changed yet. They'll be keeping a close eye on the weather forecast, of course, over the next 24 hours or so. And there was discussion that was one of the options because of the threat of the thunderstorms, as we see many times. We saw in the Club World Cup, we've seen in this tournament already one or two hefty downpours and thunderstorms that have delayed games at various points, but there will be plenty of head teachers and employers, I'm sure, hoping that those thunderstorms continue around Mexico City. As there's going to be a couple of changes here, it looks like, before the water break. As Egypt certainly are the ones who seem to be readying it. Hassan seems to be one of them. We'll wait to see how that works out on this occasion. Space at all at the moment for Egypt to get forward, and Australia back in possession across their back three. 64 minutes on the clock. Australia 1, Egypt 1. Mo Salah still looks as though he's pedalling along at about 60% at the moment rather than his usual self. Some concern as to whether he would play because of the hamstring injury. I'm afraid to say, Tom, this is not a fully fit Mo Salah, quite clearly.
No, you have to wonder now what is the benefit of him being on the pitch, Steve, at 1-1 when he's not influenced the game, and he's not doing enough he's not done enough to put Egypt 2-0 up when they were in front, and now they need someone with a little bit of energy. They need someone who's going to press and try and win the ball back and provide an option. He's not even done that, really, has he? He's not exactly come short for the ball. Of course, as soon as I say that, he does show for it. He doesn't get the ball, so it's not quite the curse of the commentator, but we haven't seen that from him. He's not looked to get involved, has he, really? And of course he's capable of stepping up with a moment of magic, is Mo Salah. He is the king, isn't he? He's absolutely brilliant. He's the best that the Pharaohs have got, and I'm sure even a 50% fit Mohamed Salah still walks into many a country's team, but we just haven't seen the benefit of why he's still on the pitch when they could have someone who is fully fit. So we'll wait and see if, as those changes are prepared for Egypt, one of them is for Mohamed Salah. But here they come.
Looks like Hossam and Hassan are the two who are going to come on, but we wait for confirmations. Egypt come forward here, shot from distance comes in, but it flicks the heels of Harrington. It's cleared away up towards the halfway line, but there's nobody there in yellow now, as Australia look to try and shut things down, at least till the hydration break. Ball onto the edge of the penalty area. Suter volleys it away, but it's picked straight back up again by Fatih in midfield. He'll work it out onto that left hand side. No space for Hafez though, as he's closed down very, very quickly as well. It's good pressing from Australia once Egypt get into that more threatening area of the field. At the moment, they just cannot find the space. Ball worked through again. Might come back to Ashur on the edge of the box. It does. Worked out to Hani on the right-hand side. Played into the near post. Suter gets there first. And Behic will tidy up. Doesn't really clear quickly enough, though, and he's closed down. Looks like he's only given away a throw-in the end as it comes off ashore and spins out of play. So a chance for the substitutions to be made then. So we said Hassan was one of those on the sideline. He will come on. Mustafa Ziko is the man who comes off. And then Hossam Abdelmajid will come on as well. And he will replace Hamdi Fathi in midfield. So two not really attacking changes in that sense, more across that midfield area for those two players. Interesting to see whether it looks like Hassan thinks his side are losing the midfield battle here somewhat, and I wouldn't disagree with him at the moment.
Yeah, it might just give them a little bit more. We mentioned earlier that the front line, at least for Egypt, is very versatile and they're switching positions a little bit. But what that's doing, I think, is disjointing them a little bit. And it's also when Salah does drop back away from that front line, there isn't as much legs, there isn't as much energy in midfield. I don't think they can afford that at this point, Egypt. So as you said, they are going to stack the middle pack a little bit more. They're going to give themselves an extra player really in there to try and get hold of the ball, because you've got to say it was probably pretty even in the first half, maybe just Egypt with a better team, but in this second half it's been one-way traffic. Australia have been much the better, and on the balance of the second half so far, I think they've been the best team. They probably deserve to be in front.
A little bit of afters as the referee blows for the hydration break on that occasion.
I think Iran Kunda was potentially putting his hand over his mouth there as he was speaking to his teammate. I have to wait and see. I thought that's what I saw.
The assistant referee was the one who spotted it. The referee was talking to other players as he'd blown the whistle, and one or two came to have a chat with him. Not anything, I don't think, aggressive in that sense. Just catching up with the referee, making a point, asking a question. Fair enough. As the players went off for the hydration break. But yeah, certainly a little bit of something. I haven't seen a replay of anything, so nothing's been spotted so far by the television director and his team at the moment. No indication that VAR is involved in any kind of check. So whatever the assistant saw was dealt with on the field, it would appear, as we see a replay again of the two goals. The first in the first half from Iman Ashur. Lovely little header as the ball came back across. His initial effort from a free kick had been blocked out. He was quick to react as the ball came back into the far post and flick a header into the bottom corner. And the second goal, we see a replay again. Doesn't look like Suter got any kind of touch on it at all as a free kick came in from the left hand side. And it hit Mohamed Hani and flicked off his head and into the far corner. Joy unconfined for the Australian supporters who were in Arlington, Texas this afternoon. As a Aussie fan in, shall we say, stereotypical Australian outfit there, with the shades, the blonde wig, and holding a crocodile. Well,
before I saw the crocodile, Steve, I thought it was Rod Stewart impersonator.
Yeah. Now, here's a question for you as well. I've just seen an Australian fan a little earlier on who, the thing about waving an imaginary yellow card? No, he'd brought his own yellow cards in with him. Now, the question is, can you be booked for that? Because it's not waving an imaginary card, is it? You're waving a literal card.
You're right.
On the field.
You're absolutely right.
I'd have to look at the wording of the official ruling from IFAB, but he wasn't pretending. He'd actually brought himself a yellow card.
Yeah, what would happen if he passed that to a player? We can only speculate.
Yeah, I suspect you would definitely be looking at a yellow card on that occasion if you waved one at the referee. One or two incidents where the referee's dropped his card and had it picked up and shown to him. Some referees have taken that in good spirits. I have seen other referees blow up and give a yellow card though to the person who waved it at them. So anyway, the two sets of players are back on the field. No further action for the referee or VAR from that little altercation just before the hydration break. 70 minutes on the clock. Australia 1, Egypt 1, and Tom will take us through to the end of the 90.
Cheers, Steve. Yeah, flown by, hasn't it? The first half of this second half, if you will. A second own goal at this tournament for Mohamed Hani is the difference since the break. Since the half-time break, that is, not the quarter break. We've now 13 own goals at this World Cup, which is actually the most ever at a single edition of a tournament. Although there has never been more games, of course, than at previous tournaments. As Australia come forward down the right-hand side, strong challenge comes in on Truin. Does fall for an Australian though as the ball comes into the air. Looking for Iran Kunda, headed away. And then partially cleared by Egypt. Shaw brings it down brilliantly, and that's a great ball into the channel as well to his right-hand side for the newly introduced Hassan. He tries to make something work down the right-hand side. It's just a throw, though. Egypt's Mohamed Hani, by the way, he's only the second player to score 2 own goals in one World Cup after a Bulgarian player in 1966. So it's a very unwanted 60-year record, that one. But it is a record nonetheless for the fullback from Al Ali. And it's Egypt in possession. 72 minutes on the clock, 1-1. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio-based commentary as Egypt come forward. Here is Hani. Drops it into the feet of Hassan. Lovely feet from him. He's looking lively since coming off the bench. And Egypt have just seen a little bit more of the ball since the introductions of those 2 new Egyptian players. As he's out towards that far side now for Karim Hafez. Plays his football in Egypt with Pyramids, as mentioned earlier. The 2 that have come on, by the way, Hossam also plays in Egypt for Zamalek. But Hassan Hassan actually plays in Spain with Real Oviedo. He's one of 2 players in the squad that play their football in Spain. The other is Hamza Abdelkarim, who is somewhat of a starter B, 18 years old. He's playing for Barcelona B at the moment. Here is Hani on the right-hand side for Egypt. Backwards towards the corner of the box on the right-hand side for Hassan. Down the line now to Hani once more, who's free, and he's got time. He swings a ball in. He drops for a sure on the edge of the area, but he's dragged that wide. It's out of play. It wasn't the same sort of composure and conviction that we saw for his goal earlier on. But it is a half chance, and it's an opportunity there for Egypt, who, as we say, have been pretty poor in this second half. But they have just had the rub of the green, haven't they, over the last 5 minutes, Steve?
Yeah, they certainly have been a little bit better in terms of those few minutes, as you say, but changes coming here for Australia. As Iran Kunda is going to come off. Toure will replace him, and we're also seeing a change for Pato, who's faded out of the game a little as the second half has gone. He flicked the top of the crossbar before all the goals went in. He will be replaced by Rustic. And so we've got 17 minutes or so and the 90 plus stoppage time to play. Not surprising to see Australia changing a couple of things, but changing it from an attacking point of view, which is good to see for the game. Yeah,
Mohamed Toure comes on. Norwich City forward man, making his 13th cap for his country. Ajin Rustic, 29 years of age, plays his football in the Netherlands with Hercules Almelo, making his 39th appearance for his country. Will that just re-swing the tide back into the favour of the Australians? We've got about 15 minutes of normal time remaining. And forward they come now on the right-hand side. Kikati. Infield now then to O'Neill. Good ball through the channel to Metcalf. Round the corner to Harrington, who is just 18, as I mentioned. And we saw his face up close at the hydration break, and you really saw just how young he looks. He really does look fresh-faced. And hasn't played like that, though, in this game. Hasn't played like that at this tournament. Looks assured, looks composed. He's been at the heart of that defence. It's a defence which only conceded 2 goals in the group stages. And here's the new man, Toure, down the left-hand side. Nearly gets there in front of Ibrahim. Egypt initially failed to clear their lines. Hani's gone down. Australia have won it back. No foul, says the referee. Here's O'Neill to Metcalf. Metcalf gets an underlapping run. It's a good ball as well. And Bayic tries to get a ball in. That's deflected and dealt with by Egypt. Has that gone out of play? Referee says no. Linesman in agreement. Australia have actually won the ball back, though, from the Pharaohs. Here's O'Neill. Out towards the left-hand side as they recycle it back in towards their own territory. They've regained some composure, Steve.
Yeah, they certainly have at the moment, and Australia are comfortable on the ball at the minute, just moving Egypt around, trying to find a little bit of space. Changes maybe just affecting both sides at the moment in terms of a little bit of fluidity in that midfield and attacking area, but it's Australia who look to have settled more into this second half as it's gone on, certainly since the hydration break, have been comfortably on top. But again, we're struggling for chances at the moment, but this Australian side certainly seems to have the life of the wind behind them at the moment.
Yeah, they certainly do. They're back in possession, albeit not in a dangerous position at the moment. It's about midway through opposition territory, but again, looking composed with the ball at their feet. They've just been forced back towards Patrick Beach, the Melbourne City goalkeeper. Of course, Matthew Ryan is in the squad. Currently plays for Levante in Spain, another Spain-based player in the two respective squads. 104 times he's played for his country, but seemingly the next generation's come in Patrick Beach, and Tony Popovic has trusted the youngster Patrick Beach over the veteran Matthew Ryan, of course once of Brighton and Hove Albion, on loan at Arsenal as well for a brief period, you may remember, out towards the right hand side for Truin, who came on at half time for the injured Jordan Boss. I think you'd have thought he'd have been a big loss, wouldn't you, Jordan Boss? I didn't have a rhyme there, but here they come. Truin once again, shot comes in, that's blocked, never looked dangerous, cleared away by Egypt. Harrington wins the header on halfway. There's a man down for the Pharaohs as it's partially cleared, but again only as far as the Socceroos. Referee hasn't blown his whistle, and the Egyptian man's got to get back to his feet. Forward they come here, Australia, towards the edge on the corner of the box on the right hand side. Irvine finds O'Neill to Metcalf. Metcalf had a look there for Aziz Bejic but couldn't find him. Now here's Harrington. Irvine once again out towards the right hand side. Kikati into the feet of Kai Truin. Now Irvine once again, he's just taken the game by the scruff of the neck, the St. Pauli man. Here he is again, backwards to Kikati. It's very comfortable at the minute, and Egypt are very deep. Mohamed Salah's still on the pitch, by the way, and still capable, of course, of winning the game for Egypt. But here come the Australians. That's a poor ball into the channel there, looking for Hrustic, and it's been dealt with by Egypt. Then the ball is kicked out of play, and the man who'd gone down previously in Karim Hafez will now be able to be seen to by the physios.
Yeah, he's obviously got a little bit of a stretch. Somebody went out to block the ball. We caught him right on the end of the foot, twisted his foot round actually, which probably didn't help at the moment. So not sure whether it's the stretch and the muscles therefore that are causing the problem, or whether it's the twisted ankle. It looks like he's stretching out both legs to try and get the hamstrings moving again and the calf muscles. So probably that's more the issue. But to be fair to him, he got back up, he tried to play on, and as soon as the ball came back to him, he just kind of said, no, I'm going to have to get some treatment here. And he's certainly not messing around. In fact, at the moment, Rami Rabia is suggesting there's a substitution maybe to come here that may be needed for this Egyptian side. Getting the hydration tablets to him. How long is it since the hydration break? 10 minutes?
Yeah, not a very hydrating break.
It's a long tournament, to be fair to these players, isn't it? And I know we joke about the low temperatures in terms of the stadium because it's air conditioned, obviously, in Arlington. As a substitution is going to be made anyway by Egypt. Trezeguet has come over to the sideline, so he will come on, and Karim Hafez is going to go off, I think, no matter what. It looks like that change is already ready. They've decided they're not going to risk him any further. They'll continue to risk Mo Salah at the moment, but they're not willing to risk the left back. 2 subs left, on comes Trezeguet. Yeah,
on comes Trezeguet, 99th appearance for his country. If they are to win this game and go through, and the 31-year-old potentially with an opportunity to make it a century. 24 goals in that time as well. Plays another who plays for Al Ali. There's plenty of them in the squad. On he comes with 10 minutes to go, and it's an attacking change really, isn't it, Steve? Hafez is certainly more defensive minded. On comes Trezeguet, and it might just be some vital support there for Mohamed Salah, as you say, he's still on the pitch.
Yeah, they've got to try and change the dynamic of the game at the moment, I think, because it's far too easy for Australia at the moment in possession. You know, the energy and the close down isn't really there from Egypt. They're keeping a good shape, you know, they're solid in that sense, but they're not picking up possession, and there's no turnover. You know, there's no transition from this Egypt side at the moment in midfield. It's very, very slow all of a sudden from that side. Let's try and work out kind of who's gone where at the moment, because obviously Egypt defending a free kick. We've only got the pictures that we see at the moment. So Sam is in the ear of the fourth official on that near side. Sandro Sierra getting a bit of a earful as he tries to deal with the Egyptian coach.
O'Neill's ball in, lofted towards Suter, who wins the header. Not surprisingly, battle for possession inside the area. It's eventually falling, and a shot comes in. Metcalf it was who swung a wild boot at it. It's still alive for the Australians, up towards Toure. He wins his header, flicks on, looking for Suter. Collision again inside the area. Suter did make contact with the ball, though. It is collected by Mustafa Shabir. As there's more handbags after play had been stopped, and there's a hand over the face there from Ashur. although he is actually gesturing that there's potentially something wrong with the gum of his teammate, so maybe that one will go unpunished. But it's a ball that she has to challenge for Suter, isn't it? I mean, I think the reaction is more from Touré's sort of inclusion in that coming together. He was gesturing that the Egyptian player should have just got back to his feet, but it's a fair challenge from Suter.
Yeah, I mean it's a foul, there's no question about that, but he's going for the ball, he's trying to get in there. He's an all-hearted player, as we know. Rabia, the defender, central defender, is not dissimilar in the way he plays the game either, so he would have been in there, I know. And I suspect there's a little bit of mutual respect there, where he kind of rolls around, thinks, well, maybe I'll get something more. The replay shows there's nothing in terms of an elbow, an arm, anything like that. It's just a collision between the two bodies. Nasty one for Rabia. It will have rattled him, but he's straight back to his feet as soon as he realises there's nothing more to come.
That's more like it from Mohamed Salah. Sets this latest Egyptian attack on its way towards that left-hand side as Trezeguet tries to make something work. The former Aston Villa man who has just come off the bench, but Australia were able to deal with it. Australia 1, Egypt 1. 83 minutes on the clock. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio-based commentary. If you are just joining us, maybe you're looking forward to the 11 o'clock game between Argentina and Cape Verde. Of course, the winner of this game will play the winner of that one, and you can catch that game and every World Cup game on this service. But if you are just joining us, it was Imam Ashur's header who put Egypt in front just 13 minutes into the game. But Australia came flying out the traps in the second half. It was an own goal from Mohamed Hani, who had gone down with suspected concussion, suspected that he was unconscious. Whether that played a part in his involvement in the goal, we're not sure. But Australia have been the better of the two sides in the second half, but it's still 1-1. Ball forward to Salah, who shrugs off the challenge of Harrington. His ball around the corner looked good at first, but it was well watched by Metcalf. Now here's O'Neill. His ball's really poor backwards towards Bayic. And that's out of play for an Egypt throw. And they take that one quickly with Hani going backwards towards Atia. One of the 5 changes coming into the game from that 1-1 draw with Iran. Sabat, Trezeguet, Lachine, who's suspended, Fatau and Abdelrahman. The other 2, they're injured. Interesting, Lachine, one of just a small handful of players that have played every minute up until this game. He and Shabir, the goalkeeper, and Hani, the only 3 that have played every minute before this game. Of course, only 2 continuing that record on, and one of them scored an own goal in the game. So maybe potentially not playing the full 90 minutes if they make it through. 6 minutes to go. Australia 1, Egypt 1, and again it's Egypt who are getting back on the ball. But Australia will be used to this. We saw this for the majority of the first half, Steve. If they sit back and defend, I think Egypt do find it difficult to break them down.
They do, but you just kind of get the feeling that Australia was a little bit on the front foot. We're starting to push Egypt back, and since the last injury sort of stoppage when Hafiz had to go off, Egypt seem to have reset themselves a little bit here. They made the substitution with Trezeguet coming on. They look a little bit more settled now, and it's Australia now who've gone back into that lower press and the deeper defence.
Hassan, ball into the area after some nice footwork. Finds Rabia at the far post. It's been left there by Ashur. That nearly opened the door for Mohamed Touré to get on the end of it, and Egypt seemingly got away with one there. Well, towards the right hand side here for Hassan once again. He's got Metcalf to beat this time. Couple of step overs. The Oviedo man goes down the line. It's a good ball. Hani into the area. Flicked away though by Australia. Falls on the edge as a shot comes in from Atia. It's going to fall for Ashur on the edge of the box. He's trying to find a yard or 2. Here's Hassan once again. Bylan on the right hand side. Left footed ball into the area. It's a really dangerous one. It's punched away by the goalkeeper Patrick Beach. It's away and out of danger for now. Pressure though on the Australian back line, as Egypt have it once again on halfway. Hassan has certainly brought to life this Egypt attack, and here he is again, the second half substitute. Cuts in on his favoured left. Again, he's looking towards the far post, and again it's a good ball towards Trezeguet, who knocks it down. No one there though in a red shirt. Cleared away by Australia, but Hassan has looked very lively since coming off the bench, Steve.
Yeah, he certainly has. As you say, him and Trezeguet starting to make a big difference on either side of the field, but here come Australia down that right hand side.
Fantastic ball by Irvine. Here they are, Truin tries to get a shot off, tried to catch them off guard, still alive though as he tries to swing a ball in. It's cleared away by Egypt eventually. Breathless stuff, end to end stuff in Dallas. Listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio based commentary. Still 1-1. Here's Suter. That's a great ball as well out towards the far side. Here is Trim once again. Ball into the area, low, drilled, blocked away by Rabiot, and out for an Australia corner. This could go either way, couldn't it? It's been so well matched.
Yeah, and at the moment Australia look the most likely. Certainly when that transition comes, they're a lot quicker onto the ball. They look a lot more energetic than this Egypt side, which in possession still looks a little bit flat at the minute. Irvine was sniffing around the near post there. Truin's ball not the best. It was easily blocked in the end and cleared away, but only behind for the corner, which Rustic will go across to take.
Yeah, Rustic does go across. 39th cap for his country. Plays his football in the Netherlands, as we mentioned. Also, of course, Jordan Boss, who'd gone off injured at half-time. It's going to be a left-footed swinger into the area. And he takes a couple of steps back. It's a very crowded 6-yard box here. Everyone will have to be careful as it comes in from Rustic towards the front post. Irvine gets onto it. It hits Suter. And it actually comes away from goal as a shot comes in. That's blocked. It'll be kept alive by Rustic on the far side on the right. He's got some time to swing this one in, and that's a good ball as well towards Irvine at the back post. It's punched this time by Shabir. Then there's a coming together, and that'll be a free kick to Egypt, but two very dangerous balls in. Irvine with the initial flick on, it just hit, I think, Suter on the head.
Yeah, it just gets that little flick, doesn't it, in there. It's not quite high enough. I think Suter's hoping that it comes to him as a header, and in the end he just has to kind of almost bow down to it, and it hits the top of his head rather than anything else. Then, as you say, the ball in from Rustic from the right hand side, a little bit lower, and that's a flick on from Metcalf, because the keeper Shabir had gambled to come out to punch it away, and if the Australian gets anything on that, it would flash past the keeper into the then unguarded goal, but didn't on this occasion, just a little bit too high for him. But as I said, Australia looking the most likely, but Egypt back on the front foot again now.
Here's Hassan down the right hand side. He's got two to beat, goes the long way round on the right, goes down under the challenge. He wants a free kick. It looked a little bit soft, I think, to the official on that near side, and to you as well, Steve.
Yeah, there's nothing in that. There's arms across by Bates, but it's not a push. He just puts his arms out as he comes across the challenge. There's no actual contact that brings the Egyptian player to the floor. The referee's quite right. It's time to get up and give the goal kick on that occasion, and that's consistently across this World Cup. There's been a lot more contact allowed at various times in those kind of scenarios that isn't being given as free kicks if the referee deems that there's not enough contact to knock you over, and for me that's exactly how it should be.
It's good to see, especially given that play is braked up an extra 2 times in the game, you know, with those hydration breaks. It's good that the referees are allowing it to play where possible. 89 minutes on the clock. Australia won, Egypt won. At the moment we're going through to extra time, but there's going to be a decent chunk of time added on. And the way that this second half has gone, you could argue for either to win the game in 90 minutes. As Rabiot has it now, looks forward for Egypt, plays it into the feet of Trezeguet, just dropped back to receive the ball. Then infield to Hossam, one of the other changes for Egypt so far in the game. Ashur out towards Mohamed Hani. Infield to Hassan, they're trying to get him the ball wherever they can, and you can see exactly why. Back to Shaw. Coming up to 90 minutes now as Hossam has it once more out towards the far side for Rabi, who's just peeled away as almost a left back. Now here's Egypt in possession. It's Attia to Trezeguet, back to Attia, slow. Lethargic build-up for Egypt, then some injection of pace with Trezeguet making a run down the left-hand side, and he's forced a corner, first corner of the game for Egypt, right on the stroke of 90 minutes, and the fourth official has indicated a minimum of 5 minutes added on at the end of the game. This would be a time to score, Steve.
Absolutely, just a little bit too far towards Trezeguet, wasn't it? He couldn't actually take it down, he just had to head the ball to keep it in play, which he did particularly well on that occasion, and forced Australia to give away a corner kick at set piece on that left-hand side. But 5 minutes to go, and at the moment the game just slowly seesawing one way to the other, isn't it? It's very even at the minute, with Egypt now slightly back in the ascendancy.
Omar Mamouche has gone across to take it. It goes short, then the ball swung in by Attia towards the far post. It's over everyone. Salah's going to try and keep it in. He does so, then has to poke it back towards Hassan. Good feet from him. Ball into the area, looks a decent one as well towards the back post, away from Harrington. There's a slip there as the attempted bicycle kick came in from Hossam. It would have been a brilliant effort to score from that sort of angle. It was further than the corner of the box, corner on the 6-yard box on the far side, but Egypt's tails are up, aren't they? Here they come. Here's Hani. 4 minutes to go in added time. Out towards Hassan. What can he do with a defender to beat. He's got him one-on-one, cuts in on his left, still going on his left, ball into the area, far post, Trezeguet's there, keeps it alive, touches it down, flicked away though by the substitute in Truin. And again Egypt will come forward. Ashore, who's just dropped a little bit deeper just to try and dictate play. Last touch off on Australia, and it's going to be an Egypt throw.
Yeah, ball out on that left-hand side again, and that's where most of the attacks are coming now from Egypt, as we say, as Trezeguet has made a big difference from an attacking point of view. They look much more solid in defence now all of a sudden. There's a little bit of energy. I think putting the board up was just giving them that little impetus to try and win this game inside the 90/95 minutes.
Here's Hassan, right-hand side. You know he's going to want it on his left. If he does go down the line, though, it might just cause some problems. He does exactly that. Ball into there with his right. Swings away. There is Jackson Irvine. Partially cleared. Toure trying to hold it up for the Socceroos. He's done exactly that. And then tries to kick it off Hassan to try and win a goal kick. And that is very, very risky from Toure. And it isn't a risk that's paid off. He's conceded a corner in the most bizarre of fashion.
Yeah, that's silly, isn't it, from Toure? You've got to be sharper than that, more switched on, and not give away silly set pieces on that occasion. He was a long way from the line, he was a long way from his own goal. All he's got to do is turn it inside and allow one of the Australian players in the middle to clear it away. He tries to be a little bit cute. This is not the time to be clever.
Certainly isn't, but it could be the time for Egypt to potentially win the game. Mohamed Salah, the Egypt captain, swings the ball in from the corner. It's a decent one towards a penalty spot away though from Suter. It's up rather than out. Harrington battling for it, as is Irvine, who swings away towards this near right hand side where Egypt pick the ball up once again. Hassan to Salah. Salah into the area. It's a brilliant cross, and it's an even better save from the goalkeeper. That is exceptional from Patrick Beach. It was such a close distance. It was point blank range. The header came in from Rabia up there from the back, and Patrick Beach has kept Australia in the World Cup. They're going to have another corner, Egypt, but what a save.
Superb goalkeeping, isn't it? It's a lovely ball in. Why is Mo Salah on the pitch? Well, partly because he can do things like that and create opportunities, but what a save.
Mamouche into the area, away once again from Suter. Here is Salah. Could this be the moment? Shot comes in. It's too tame in the end. Beach is able to collect that one. What a moment that was from him. He goes long with the ball from his feet. It's over the heads of everyone, though. It's going to go through to his opposite number. Had they scored there, people would be saying exactly that, Steve, wouldn't they? They'd be saying, well, that's why he's still on the pitch. Mohamed Salah, it's a brilliant header from Rabia, but an even better stop.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the header at all. He's close to the goalkeeper, but from that kind of angle, actually Beach, his initial position isn't great. He starts to come for the cross, realises he's not going to get there. He actually kind of ends up a little bit in no man's land, so his decision making not great in that scenario, although he was left in an awkward position by the quality of the ball from Salah.
Here is Salah, plays it to Atia. Has a shot, but it's blocked, and it's going to come back towards halfway. We're into the final minute of the 5 added on, by the way, and the ball's pretty much been in play for the whole time. So once we hit the 95, I suspect that might be that. As Salah goes round the corner, Hani can't control it. Australia, have to clear the ball away. Opting not to try and keep possession at this late stage. I think they're just hanging on now for extra time. So another 30 minutes awaits us, plus penalties if need be. Here is Hassan on the right-hand side. What can he do with just seconds remaining on the clock? A switch of play from him out towards the left. Here is Ashore, basically playing at left back now as the final 10 seconds are underway. Back towards this near right hand side. Here's Salah. Could this be the moment? Hassan wants it on the edge. Can he find him? He doesn't. He goes down the line instead. Still Salah inside the box. They'll have to be careful. Here they are. Shot comes in from Hassan. It's blocked away from goal. It was on its way towards the far post. It's still alive as Egypt try and swing the ball in. That's blocked, and there is the referee's whistle. It's full time, but it's not the end of the game. We'll have 30 more minutes of this round of 32 clash. Australia won, Egypt won. Join us very, very shortly for another 30 minutes.
The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashure's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance just before the end of the game as well. Salah with an inch-perfect cross into the box. Rabia got his head to it, and Beach made a stunning save to keep Australia in this World Cup. We're going to extra time. At the end of the 90, it is Australia 1, Egypt 1. The 90 minutes are up, but the two sides are locked at 1-1. Ashua's flick header in the first half, opening the scoring, and then a free kick from the left, inadvertently entered into his own net by Mohamed Hani to make it 1-1. Great chance. Well, welcome back to the next stage of our coverage then, as we go into overtime, extra time, as we more commonly know it. And as we're in the home of the Dallas Cowboys, let's go OT, as the ball is already back in play. And there's already a free kick here for a challenge. There has been a couple of substitutions by Australia, as Mabil has come on for Metcalf during that pause, and there's also been a second change. Ocon Engstier comes on for Aidan O'Neill. So 2 swaps by Tony Popovic to try and energise his side, as they just lost their way, certainly in stoppage time. There's a yellow card for a little bit of too much on the sideline by somebody, whether it was Hassan himself or whether it was somebody else, but anyway, there's a yellow card for somebody on the bench over on that side. We'll get confirmation, I'm sure, if it was the head coach. It doesn't affect what's happening on the field. It doesn't affect the head coach too much either. Hassan is very vocal and agitated on this sideline, as Australia have a free kick then, midway inside the Egypt half, wide on the right. It'll be whipped in long towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Nobody there in yellow, but it's headed straight up in the air. Trezeguet will have to get a second head to it, but his one goes only just outside the box, and Australia win it straight back. Ball comes straight to feet of Mabil on that right-hand side. He'll get his first run of the defence, tries to force the ball into the centre, but it's covered over on this occasion. Rabia has it. Can he clear downfield? Not straight away, because he's closed down rather dramatically, and the ball works its way over on that right-hand side as Egypt spread it out over there. Mohamed Hani, the unfortunate goal scorer of the Australian equaliser, has possession as Egypt work it from right to left. Great ball out towards Trezeguet, takes it on his chest, up against the defender on this left-hand side. No space at all to try and get round on this occasion. Threw in, sitting in, as Trezeguet has it again. Rolls it into a central position. Nowhere to go though just for the moment. But Egypt have possession as their captain, Mo Salah, still on the field. Didn't think he'd last that long, to be honest with you, after only passing a fitness test on that hamstring problem. And he has continued to lead his side as we move into the next stage of the game. As Hassan picks up possession, whips the ball into there, it's played off towards Salah, tries the shot, but he gets way underneath it on this occasion. And the Egyptian king can't find the back of the net. It's a goal kick.
Yeah, he's got more and more involved as the game goes on, which is probably not what we expected. You'd probably expect the reverse, wouldn't you? Maybe we thought, because he's not fully fit, would he try and impact the game early on and then just sort of see his impact dwindle? But it's actually the other way, and that effort there blazed over on his weaker right from a pretty decent angle, pretty decent distance, but it was a difficult one to control given where the ball was. But 3 minutes in, already a first effort from Egypt. It's been so well balanced this game, hasn't it? You couldn't call it. You don't know who's going to win the game. Whoever does, it'll be their first ever win in the knockout stages of a World Cup, and it'll be a brilliant moment for them. But you feel that whoever loses, it probably undeserved.
Yeah, certainly. Everybody expected it to be a tight game. There were lots of discussions before kickoff around this one was likely to go the distance in that sense, because both sides have struggled a little overall in front of goal, certainly, but have been quite solid defensively. Although there have been 1 or 2 gaps for both sides, but not a mass of chances other than the 2 goals, really. Fantastic save from Beach in stoppage time, and the early strike from Volpato that just rattled, Volpato I should say, who rattled the top of the bar. But between that, a game of few chances, but plenty of endeavour. As Ashur picks up possession again, rolls the ball on towards the edge of the area. Marmoush can't get space, and it spins away and off the chest then of Patrick Beach, who's been on the beach most of the game so far. Virtually a holiday for him until the latter stages of the game, when he pulled out one stunning save and then saw an effort blocked by Harry Souttar just in front of him. It may or may not have been flashing towards the bottom corner. We didn't see a replay that showed us the right angle, but Beach was certainly interested, flinging himself across the goal behind his captain, who kneed the ball away to safety on that occasion, as Egypt finished the game much stronger than their Australian opponents. Possession though in midfield now, as Chikati tries to play the ball forward, but there's too many red shirts around that midfield area, and picked up by Ashur. Over towards Hassan. Keeps popping up down this right hand side. It's a little bit narrower on this occasion. Waits for support to come from Hani over on that right hand side, but that's given Australia the chance to come back in. 5 minutes of the first period of extra time have been played. Egypt giving away the ball to Mabil in towards Irvine. Poor header from him though. Could be seized on by Trezeguet, who will battle for it, but Mabil takes control back for Australia. And the Socceroos can clear up towards the halfway line, where Jackson Irvine pushes it up the field towards Toure. He's claiming a free kick. Referee actually is going to bring it back. There was no advantage to the Australian side, as Toure did control it, but then was quickly closed down. And so the foul is given for the challenge on Jackson Irvine. As Rami Rabia stretching out to try and block, just caught the toe end of the Australian midfielder. And the Aussies have taken the free kick quickly, and at the moment neither side have quite got into that attacking third with the pace that's perhaps required.
Not just yet. I think we might see the game stretch as it continues on. Equally, we might see what we usually see in extra time, in that teams sit back because they don't want to lose the game and they'd rather take the lottery of penalties. But I think Egypt probably started this extra time period a little bit better, but Australia are on the ball now with an opportunity. Hassan though for Egypt has been brilliant since he's come off the bench, but I'm just thinking there, here they come actually.
Yeah, a little ball into the path of a couple of players further forward, but just no space at all. Again, as Egypt recover, and then Bashi tries to get around the back of the defender. He goes down rather dramatically, claiming he's been hit on the side of the head. Referee totally uninterested in terms of that. We'll have a look at the replay. Well, he is. It's purely accidental from Hani. He comes across to cover, every right to be there, and the shoulder just catches the Australian fullback on the side of his ear. The referee happy that there was no intent there at all in that sense from Hani, so waves it away. And Egypt are back in possession just inside the own half of the field. It's, these two sides only meeting for the second time ever. They just played one friendly before this, when Egypt won 3-0. It was quite some time ago, though, 16 years nearly since that game. The first time they've met in competitive action. As Tom says, both sides looking to win a knockout game at the World Cup for the first time. The African Confederation has had a pretty good World Cup so far in terms of the group stages, getting teams through. A little bit more of a struggle in terms of getting into the knockout stages for the Asian conference that Australia now sit in. These are the last teams standing from that particular confederation at the moment, as Egypt come forward again. Obviously the big winners of this competition have been Sunderland so far, whose players seem to be scoring goals left, right and centre, or being involved somewhere along the line. The stats earlier on in the week telling us they were right up there with PSG and Real Madrid in terms of goal involvements. Read into that what you will. So here come Egypt with Hassan down that right hand side, drives down towards the byline, chips the ball in, but it's massively overhit, doesn't even land in the penalty area. And Hasim Hassan slaps the ground in frustration, because that was a good position he got himself into.
Yeah, he's been brilliant since coming off the bench, Steve. Born in France, represented France at youth level, and Egypt managed to convince him to switch nationalities in March of this year, right before that sort of international window where you're allowed to do that ahead of the World Cup. And of course then Egypt qualified for the World Cup, and he has had that opportunity. He's looked like a live wire in this game. I've got to say, this is the first I've seen of Egypt at this competition in live viewing, and he's looked really, really strong, and I'm surprised he hadn't started. The sort of impact that he's made off the bench has been brilliant.
Yeah, certainly has. Been impressed by him since he came on. Been impressed by the goal scorer, sure, as well. Did have a little spell in Europe with Midtjylland in Denmark. Played in the Europa League, but wasn't there for long. He didn't settle and went back to play in Egypt, and has certainly started to flourish. Got his first goal in that game against Belgium, and he's got his second of the tournament. Opened the scoring in the group stages, opened the scoring in the knockout stages as well. 10 minutes gone then of the first period of extra time. Australia 1, Egypt 1. And here is Hassan again over on that right hand side, rolls it back to Hani, cross from him towards the far post, too high for Trezeguet. He claims that it came off an Australian head. The referee waves that suggestion away. And the ball is out for a throw-in to Australia, almost level with their own penalty area, which throw-in will come across to take. Doesn't exactly rush. He feels his side need a little bit of a breather here at the moment. Chasing the ball somewhat at the moment, this Australian side, as Egypt dominate possession but without really threatening the penalty area. Threw-in with a terrible throw-in that really should have been a foul throw, but anyway, play continues as Australia battle for it in midfield and potentially win it back, but Rustic is pulled back for a foul on this occasion. Push on ashore as the Egyptian midfielder fell to the ground. But Egypt, again, like we said towards the end of the game, are really taking control of the match, but on this occasion struggling to make that turn into chances.
Yeah, much like we saw in the first half of the game, Steve, and then of course the Aussies had the better in the second. Will that play out in extra time? We'll wait and see. Here come Egypt once more, but that's a terrible ball in towards Mohamed Salah. But yeah, they have struggled. I mean, they got their goal through a set piece, which rather took us by surprise, given that Australia have actually looked the better at set pieces throughout the game, certainly since that opener. Outside of that, Egypt have really struggled to create clear-cut chances. Australia have actually been really good defensively. They've been solid, really compact. They've worked really hard. They haven't taken any risks as well, which I think has been crucial.
More action to come as the ball is out of play for a throw-in to Egypt inside their own half of the field. More action to come tonight, of course, with more games in this competition. Of course, you've got Argentina against Cape Verde, which will either be a comfortable victory for Messi's side or one of the greatest shocks, well, probably the greatest shock in World Cup history in that sense. And then if you're really a night owl, Colombia against Ghana at 2:30 UK time is the offering later on tonight, for those of you who can stay up that long. I know most of you will stay up for the first half of Argentina and then decide whether to stay with it, I suspect, once we tick past midnight. I understand, but, you know, there's no work tomorrow. Stay up. You might miss, as I say, one of the greatest shocks in World Cup history. We shall see. Although, of course, if you look around the odds markets, that's not the case potentially, as Ashur picks up possession midway inside the Australia half. Really silly kind of shot from that sort of distance. Tried one for about 35-40 yards, and it's about 35 yards wide of the post by the time it flashes out for a goal kick. Yeah,
he's been good though, hasn't he, the goal scorer at Ashur, and he's played in multiple positions as well. When we were sort of coming towards the end of the full time, Steve, and Egypt were on the front foot and they were able to throw a few more bodies forward. He's basically playing at left back, just picking the ball up and trying to make things happen. He's sort of playing left central midfield now, kind of playing off that left hand side. It's a bit of a weird position, really. He has played the majority of the game on the far left, but yeah, he's been really good. Again, Mohamed Salah still quiet. I do just wonder if they go through Egypt, what will they do about that? Will they play him again? Because, you know, clearly he's not 100%. Will they hope that in a few days until the game, it's the 7th of July when they'll play again? So it's a short window to try and get him fit once again. It'd be interesting to see, but still time to play, and they need to make it through in order to answer that question.
Yeah, went off injured in the game against Iran, but has battled on here as we come towards the end of the first period of extra time. I have no notes in front of me in terms of goal scoring opportunities for this 15 minutes, I'm afraid, but certainly Egypt dominating the possession. I'm really impressed by Ashur myself so far. I think there'll be one or two clubs having a look at him. I had a look at half time. I'll be honest, my knowledge of the Egyptian league is perhaps not as strong as it should be, but his ratings and stats in terms of the league are pretty impressive for a young player. And so maybe if he does feel that he finally is ready for a move off Egyptian shores, he may feel that this is the right time. I'm sure one or two sides will be impressed by what they've seen. A couple of goals on the score sheet through this tournament so far. Free kick here for Australia. Bayic is pulled back by Hassan. That was really I can't be bothered to chase you anymore. I'll just grab your shirt. And it's a yellow card for the Egyptian substitute. Again, it's been a bright spot for this Egyptian side. On occasion, a rather poor effort to make the challenge. And it will be a free kick then, probably to end the first half of extra time. Australia only about 15 yards inside the Egypt half, to the left of centre. Rustic will lift this one forward. Egypt's defensive line is in line with the edge of the D on the edge of the penalty area. some idea of where we're aiming at. Harry Suter has gone wide, but then comes into a more central position as Rustic puts it in. It goes instead out wide, looking for Chikati on that right hand side, but he can't get to it. It's flicked away for a throw in. Will they have time to take it? I don't think they will. I think the referee has blown for the end of the first period of extra time. So there will be a little breather for both sides before we have the final 15 minutes of action. And at the break in extra time, it remains 1-1 between these two sides, Tom.
Yeah, it certainly does. And there's going to be a change here as well, which I think is really well timed. You know, whether it'll be a change with penalties in mind, I'm not too sure. But it looks like, well, we were just seeing that, and then the score has just flashed up on our screens right in front of where the board had gone up. So we'll confirm that in a moment. I think I saw number 22 on the board, so Jackson Irvine, I think, potentially being brought off. And
no, it looks like it's Egypt who have actually made the change. I think as we see, Marmouche has just headed off the field. He seems to be the one who's gone. Yeah, confirmation on our screen now on Marmouche. The Manchester City man is on.
Yep, you're absolutely right.
Karim is the man who's come on in his place.
Yeah, the man I mentioned who plays for Barcelona B, just 18 years of age, and already 5 caps now for Egypt. Started his career in Egypt with Al Ahly, but made that move initially on loan to Barcelona B and then permanently. Subject of a decent chunk of money as well for him, for his services. So Hamza Abdel Karim comes on. And it's Omar Mamouche who's gone off. We've mentioned Salah a lot, but of course Mamouche, not of course the same pedigree, but playing at the same level and of course much younger. He too has struggled to get involved, hasn't he, Mamouche?
Yeah, he has. You've got to say most of them from an attacking point of view sure has been the real bright spot in terms of that more attacking play, although as the game's gone on he's dropped further and further back into midfield to try and give that solidity across that area where Australia has started to dominate as we came sort of towards the end, the final quarter of the 90, should we say, was certainly the best chances for Australia until we reached the 90-minute mark when Egypt took back control. And as you say, still balanced. We still look like we're heading for penalties on this game, but Egypt certainly having the better of the possession in the first part of extra time.
Yeah, extra time is continuing and the second half has kicked off. Egypt going from left to right in the second half of this additional 30 minutes. Australia from right to left as Toure closes down the ball, with Egypt going immediately back to their goalkeeper from kickoff. A very similar feel to the first 30 minutes is what we're getting, but the ball at the back here with Egypt take a risk or two, and they've given the ball away, and here comes Australia, who've won it back in towards Ocon Engsler, in towards the area by Rustig. It's a header towards goal there by Toure, but he was always coming away from goal there. Toure had to generate pace to flick it back towards goal and couldn't quite do so enough. It's wide of the mark and out of play for a goal kick, but better from Australia.
Yeah, first real attack we've seen from them properly from open play in the extra time period, and Toure is a little bit frustrated with his side. He wants them to press a little bit higher and join him to press, but I think Popovic quite sensibly is saying no, we're not going to throw everybody at it because we're not chasing the game at the moment. You've got to be careful. Neither side can take risks in terms of how they're lining up at the moment, and Popovic quickly making the point to his centre forward that this is not the time for a big high press.
Here come Egypt, although that's good work from Ocon Engsler on his track back there. And then there's a coming together between the new man Hamza Abdel Karim and the defender in Chikati, and that will be a free kick. There's a freak collision there as Hamza Abdel Karim was trying to win the ball back, and Australia will have it. Jackson Irvine, who he's still going, he's really putting the hard yards in this game, and you have to applaud that. He's worked really, really hard. There's a ball in behind here which could be dangerous. Australia with an opportunity inside the area, tried to play it across the face of goal. There was Toure, and it was well blocked and well watched and well matched by Rabia. And now Egypt have got the ball back. Forward they go. Salah tried to flick it around the corner. It just hits the head of Suter, the man mounting in front of him, the Leicester City man. It's eventually won back and then cleared by Egypt, but collected by Beach, who, don't forget, made that excellent save at the end of the 90 minutes to deny Rabia what would have been a winner for Egypt, and he's kept them in this game. he may have to face some penalties, but we've got another Australia attack before then as it's fizzed across the face of goal. It's too lofty though, and it's out of play at the other side for an Egypt throw in again. I mean, we're only 2.5 minutes into the second half of this added time, but it does feel the same as it did in the 90. Egypt had more of the ball in the first half. Australia were the better in the second. If they can end the second half period like they did the second half in 90 minutes, Steve, then they'll be on the money, won't they?
Yeah, Tony Popovic must be a hell of a motivator, that's all I say, because every time he brings his side over to the sideline at the midpoint of a game, somewhere along the line, whether that be in extra time or in the 90, it's it's a similar kind of change from his side, although this one's been a lot quicker, because it took them a little while to build into that second half. They almost got caught out by Marmoush's efforts, you say, just after half time. Probably took about 5 or 10 minutes for them to really start to dominate the second period, but on this occasion straight on the front foot. But here comes Hassan again for Egypt.
Yeah, here is Hassan, the French-born Egyptian, essentially then for Atia, who releases one from distance. It takes a deflection, and in the end it's stopped by Beach, but he had to be careful there. He'd gone to his right. Had it been a deflection which had maybe more 10% contact, it would have certainly gone the other way. It would have caused a real problem for the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I don't think he would have had much chance had he gone the other way, because all his weight was moving right, and in the end he just has to kind of push his hands down and block the ball really and make a quick save on that occasion.
That's brilliant from Bajic on the left hand side, still full of pace at this late stage, but they've given the ball away through Hrustic, and now Salah goes down. It's going to be a free kick. Harrington this time it was who dragged him back. The ball's rolling as Salah tries to take the free kick. He's getting frustrated now as the former Liverpool man, but the rules are the rules, says Gustavo Tejera, the Uruguayan official, who has had little to do really in terms of controversy or big decisions to be made, as Egypt take the free kick eventually with 10 minutes to go in extra time. Australia 1, Egypt 1. You're listening to Off-Tube independent studio-based commentary. Here they come now with Hani in towards Atia. Now here's Hassan on the right hand side, about midway through the Australia half, slowly rolling the ball, and then an injection of pace from Hassan, and he's on the byline, tries to swing a ball in, takes a couple of deflections. It's eventually punted away by Bajic, and a throw in taken quickly by Egypt, but referee's not happy with it. Not exactly sure why, but they'll have to retake it. Hani, who scored the own goal, which saw Australia equalise. Second own goal for him at this tournament. Here's Yasser Ibrahim. Now Hossam to Atia once more. Egypt regaining possession, retaking control of the pace of the game. They're playing it at their speed. But Australia won't mind, given their defensive solidity so far, with just 10 minutes to go in extra time. Here's Hassan, moving from right to left, finds the feet on the far side of Trezeguet. He's been quiet since coming off the bench. Ashur, the goal scorer. Atia, forward towards the edge of the area, held up by the substitute Abdel Karim. Tries to flick it through, it's up into the air. Header won by Rabia, partially cleared, and now it will be cleared by Australia. Forward they come looking for Toure, just can't get the ball to stick, Steve.
Yeah, it's just coming straight back all the time at the moment, isn't it? Toure is an isolated figure now as Australia are sitting in. I think the Aussies have declared, not the first time we've heard that before.
Here's Mo Salah, cuts in on his left, ball towards the edge of the area, shot comes in, it's deflected away by Suter once again. It's going to go out for an Egypt corner. It's Australia 1, Egypt 1. It was Ashur who tried to swing it towards the far corner. Suter in the way.
Yeah, he's just an absolute brick wall, isn't he, in front of that goal. He's made 3 blocks now that have been absolutely key. Again, Beach was interested, diving across behind his captain. Suter, though, just headed it away.
Salah towards the front post. Suter there once again. It's brilliant defending from the Leicester City man, but it's only as far as Atia. Now here is the captain, Salah, once more. The Egyptian king slows it down, stops the ball, goes down the line to Hassan. Maybe a miscommunication, still alive as it's collided once again with, this time, Jackson Irvine in on Australia's shirt, and out for another corner, and again it's taken instantly by Salah. They certainly got their tails up. They feel this could be the moment. Egypt, ball into the area from Hani. Headers won by an Egypt player, but it's over the heads of his teammates. It's out of play for a goal kick.
Yeah, one of those situations where there's just too many players in red shirts around that far post area. Just could not get a situation where anybody could get a clear view of the goals. You see a replay from the referee cam, which gives us a really good view on Ashur's shot. I'm not sure it was going in. It might have just been going wide on that occasion, but Suter didn't know that. And to be fair, neither did Beach, who was diving across behind him.
Yeah, maybe not enough legs on it, but it was blocked anyway. Egypt have won the ball back. That's brilliant, isn't it, from Hassan once again. Right-hand side into the feet of Salah. Still going, Salah. Might not be 100% fit, but still capable. Mohamed Salah inside the area. Could this be the moment? It's blocked away. Mohamed Salah really trying to pull his Egypt side into the round of 16. Say what you want about his fitness, say what you want about his influence in this game, but right at the death of the 90 minutes he was involved, and now in extra time as well, he's seemingly the freshest player on the pitch, and he's going to take yet another Egypt corner, and it's an in-swinger towards our front post. It's a poor delivery. It's nodded away this time by Okon Engsler. It's sent back into the danger zone by Attia. Suter underneath it, of course he is. He heads clear. Australia really behind the ball now, really under the cosh as Trezeguet has it, left hand side, in swinging cross away from Irvine this time. It's going to be chased down by Toure, and he's going to get there as well. Only two of them up there inside opposition territory as they hold the ball up here, Australia, and they need a spell of possession, Steve.
Yeah, they need a breather here, don't they? As you say, they're having to defend very stoutly. They're doing it well, but a lot of it is a little bit last ditch at the moment from Australia in this second half of extra time. Who was there again when Salah got away in a little bit of space? Harry Suter, who has been superb, does what he does best very, very well. And let's put it that way, from Suter's point of view, he's been outstanding, the Australian captain again.
Chikati out towards the far right hand side. It's going to be chased down by the first half substitute in Truin, or the half time substitute in Truin, but he can't keep the ball in play. Last touch off the Socceroos fullback, and it's out of play for an Egypt goal kick. Well, that flow has yet to be stemmed, and Egypt will come once again. They haven't quite had that breather, Australia. They might have a breather in 5 minutes if it's still level, because they'll be going to extra time with more to play. Penalties to come. Ball into the channel. Doesn't quite work out for Toure, nor does it for Mabel. And it falls for Ashur. And Egypt look the fresher in towards the final 5 minutes of this round of 32. It's Australia 1, Egypt 1. You're listening to Off-Tube Independent Studio-based commentary. Here's Hassan. Been a real live wire. A really good introduction into the game. And here he is, still Hassan. Tries to get it across the face of goal. But yet again, there's an Australia defender there to block the cross. Corner after corner after corner, they just cannot connect with a cross.
Yeah, they just can't seem to find a way in anything, because that time it's the youngster Lucas Heritage who's still going full-blooded, makes the challenge. It was rather fortunate for Rustic, I think it was, who almost gave away a foul, managed to pull his feet away before catching Hassan, which would have been a clear penalty inside the area. But at the moment it's Egypt looking the most likely and the most dominant in this second half of extra time.
Salah goes short with the corner. Attia back to Salah. First time ball into the area again is tame. Irvine behind it. That's a poor touch though, or a non-touch rather, which allows Salah to keep the ball. He tried to swing a ball in. It was blocked once again by Okon Engsler, and Egypt will keep the ball. It's a one-team game at the minute, and that team is Egypt, and there's a ball into the area once again to cause problems. Trezeguet this time, Rabia this time, unable to get on the end of it. Australia seemingly with answers to every question that Egypt ask at the moment in this extra time period, and you can see the lack of urgency here for Australia. You can understand why they've been under the cosh. They're taking their time. They're not interested in flying forward. I think they're desperate to hang on for penalties, Steve, at this stage.
Yeah, as we said, they've quite clearly declared in this game they'll take 1-1, they'll take penalties, because they know that they are massively under the cosh against this Egypt side that seems to have got a sudden freshness as we've gone into extra time, and Australia are starting to look very, very tired. They are working excessively so defensively at the moment, but not, there's very few chances for Egypt that are clear cut at the minute, and here come Australia.
Yeah, it's Mebel down the left hand side, cuts in on his right. Challenge by Hani is a dangerous one, and that will be a free kick for Australia. That is a well needed respite for Tony Popovic's side. It's Mabel, the substitute, and he's well caught there by Mohamed Hani.
Yeah, it's a poor challenge from Hani, isn't it? Gets caught out as Mabel steps inside onto his right foot to try and get a shot or cross in, and as Hani's coming across in the opposite direction, leaves the leg trailing and smashes the ankles of Mabel. Fortunately, he's okay and he's back up onto his feet. And Rustic and Mabel are the two who are over it at the moment. As Harry Suter has a chat with them, Attia is stood right behind the Australian captain, trying to listen in to what the conversation is. Nobody brushes him away, they just leave him where he is. So maybe it was all in code from the Australians in terms of what the plan is, and maybe Attia learned absolutely nothing whatsoever.
It's Mabel who's stood over the ball, plays his football. Another who plays his football in Spain, it's Castellon, who he plays for. He looks like the sole taker to me, although there is another over it. Yeah, it will be Mabel who hits it. It's against the wall. I'm sure it is. He's able to block it. 28 minutes into the game, Australia 1, Egypt 1. Closing stages await us. Will either side go on and win this game, or will it be penalties that decide it? Neither of these two nations have had a victory in the knockouts of a World Cup before. Either way, history will be made, and the other team will be distraught as the throw-in comes in from Chikati. Header won by Suter. Free kick though. A foul by Suter according to the referee, and free kick taken quickly. Salah, forward ball to Ashur, is going to ask too much of him. It goes out of play. It's going to be an Australia throw, 2 minutes to go. Referee's blown his whistle, I think for a change, a late change, a change potentially with penalties in mind. I imagine we'll see the number 10 go up here. No, we're not. It's the goalkeeper.
It's a goalkeeping change, it would appear. And it must be Patrick Breach, therefore, who is going to come off. So he is clearly not deemed to be the best goalkeeper for penalties in that sense, because a certain Matt Ryan will come onto the field for the final moment or two. Interesting one.
Yeah, well,
the former Brighton man and Arsenal man comes on.
We've seen this before. We haven't seen it at this World Cup, but we've certainly seen it in other competitions. And I would imagine that this is something that was pre-discussed, predetermined, as the captain comes on and takes the armband. Matt Ryan takes it off Harry Suter, and he will be the captain, and he will lead them into this penalty shootout, which is less than 60 seconds away. Bajic with a throw down the left-hand side into the channel, nodded away by Egypt. A battle on halfway. Irvine loses out, but Bajic picks up the loose scraps. This is it. This is the last moment. Bajic still full of energy. A sliding challenge comes in. The referee has seen it as well, and it will be a free kick for Australia late on. Well, Matthew Ryan's come on. I can't imagine he'll be coming up for this, but it's a late opportunity for Australia to win the game from a set piece. A very similar situation for where they got their goal.
Yeah, really poor challenge again, wasn't it, on Toure? It's got to be a yellow card, and Yasser Ibrahim puts out a hand of apology towards Toure. He just made sure that the Australian centre forward wasn't going to get away from him on that occasion. And Yasser Ibrahim becomes the latest to go into the yellow card, and the Australian fan with the yellow card has been able to use it again, as it looks like Egypt are going to make another late change, which again is going to be a penalty one. 1 minute of stoppage. Sabre is on the sideline ready to come on. But at the moment, it looks like no change, and we are into the final minute. Oh, the board is now finally going to go up on this occasion. So Attia will come off, and Sabre will come on in his place.
Yeah, Mahmoud Sabre comes on, his 17th appearance for his country. Another who plays his football in Egypt. It's Zed. He plays for known as FC Mazar, but Zed Football Club, formerly known as FC Mazar. And the team based in Giza in Egypt. A free kick though for Australia. This could be a monumental moment in this game, in this World Cup. Mabel will take it. He's got some big boys to aim for. Suter's making himself a nuisance just on the edge of the area. In it comes though from the far side towards Jackson Irvine at the far post. It's bobbling around inside the area. It's eventually collected by the goalkeeper. A moment of sheer panic there for the Egyptian defenders and for the goalkeeper Shabir. There's two down inside the area, one for each team. The referee's blown his whistle. A clear coming together. Chikati, the man for Australia, who's down holding his face. Can't exactly see who it is for Egypt, who's struggling. Get a shot in a moment, but a half opportunity to win it there, Steve.
Yeah, certainly was. It was pinball inside the penalty area, wasn't it? Nobody could really take control of the ball. It was like it's Yasser Ibrahim who is down for the moment at least. And as you say, Chikati is the man who also was down. Yeah, just a coming together of heads and then a collision as well in there between the two of them. There's a bit of a delayed reaction from both players who were still trying to at least keep eyes on the ball as it was bouncing around. But both of them are now back to their feet. And we've got, well, in theory, we haven't got anything. And in fact, the referee brought the half to an end.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's blown his whistle. So that's it. Penalties then for this game to be decided. The winner will play the winner of Argentina versus Cape Verde, and the winner will be decided from the spot kicks. It's full time. It's 1-1. Join us very, very shortly for the penalty shootout.
"120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals won in the first half of the 90 minutes are sure, with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted in the final seconds of the extra time. The experienced keeper Matt Ryan has come on instead for Australia. We go to penalties with the two sides locked after extra time at 1-1. 120 minutes completed then, and 120 minutes that could not separate the two sides. The goals, one in the first half of the 90 minutes, Ashur with the strike from a little flick header inside the penalty area to give Egypt the lead, and then another flick header, unfortunately, at the other end of the field from an Egyptian player as a free kick from Australia was inadvertently flicked into his own net by Mohamed Hani. Other chances for Egypt. Mamouche could have scored but put a shot wide just after half time, and then a superb save from a header from Rabia by Patrick Beach, who has now been substituted. Well, we are ready for the penalties then, and the first one will be taken by Australia. It looked like Mo Salah won the toss, both for which end the penalties will be taken at and the choice of whether to go first or not. He's chosen second, and the penalties will be taken behind, in the goal rather, where behind are the Egyptian fans, or the bulk of that group are behind that goal. So Suta against Shubia for the first penalty for Australia then, as these two sides look to progress out of a knockout stage game for the first time and face the winners of Argentina against Cape Verde, who play later on tonight. Suta then was the Australian captain before Ryan came on, and he's lifted the ball high over the bar. And it is advantage Egypt after the first penalty. Harry Sutu's had the captain's armband on most of the game until Matt Ryan came on at the final seconds of the 120 minutes, and he absolutely launches this one way over the crossbar. The Dallas Cowboys will be taking a look at him, but unfortunately that means there's no goal on the board for Australia. It is advantage Egypt then, Tom.
Yeah, I was expecting a real smacker there from Suta. I was expecting a drilled one. He went for the open boot over the bar though from him. As you say, a big opportunity then for Egypt to take an early advantage, and it's Saber who came on. Obviously a change made for the penalties. Let's see if that pays off. Let's see if the Australia change pays off. Saber not touched the ball yet against Matt Ryan, who's not touched the ball yet. Both players coming on for the penalty shootout up against each other. Saber, a central run-up at the moment. I suspect he'll take a couple of steps to his left as Ryan gets ready, and then he does go. Saber to his left, right foot at the ball. It's into the corner. It's a brilliant penalty. Ryan had gone the right way, but he would have had to had forearms in order to stop that one. And it's into the back of the net, and Egypt are 1-0 up in the shootout.
Yeah, Matt Ryan went incredibly early on that occasion, started moving to his right, but Saber clearly was not looking at him at all. He made up his mind. Unfortunately, he bent it right into the side netting, as it were, on the inside of the goal. Here comes Jackson Irvine then for Australia. The second penalty then for the Australians, and the man with the long blonde hair and the ponytail is ready to roll, as Mustafa Shabir will take as long as possible before he finally wanders into his goal, all in sky blue. Pensive faces amongst the Australian fans as Irvine steps up right-footed and strokes it into the top corner. Lovely penalty. Shabir went the wrong way. It wouldn't have mattered if he'd have gone the right way. It was delicately placed right-footed right up into the top corner. It is back to 1-1, but Egypt still have their second penalty to come.
Yeah, composure personified there, wasn't it, from Jackson Irvine? I think that's exactly what Suta was trying to do, but it was much better executed by the former Celtic man. It's 1-1, as you mentioned, and up steps another defender. We've already had one for Australia. We're going to have one for Egypt now. Rabia it is, Remy Rabia of Al Ain in the UAE. He's been a solid force inside the area using his head. Can he now find the back of the net in this penalty shootout with his feet from the spot? Rabia places the ball down. 3 or 4 steps backwards, then 3 or 4 to his left. The referee's given the all clear with his whistle. Rabia against Ryan. And Rabia scores, goes towards his left-hand side, goes to the goalkeeper's right. Ryan had gone the other way. And Egypt continue. That's 2 for 2.
Yeah, they have the advantage then at the moment. Matt Ryan again going a little bit early. He's taking the gamble that people aren't looking at him. On this occasion, I don't think Rabia was looking at him. It wasn't the best penalty you've ever seen, but the goalkeeper was in the wrong place, having gone to his left. The ball went to his right, and Rabia makes it 2-1. There's another substitute comes up. Awamabil is the man who will take the third penalty for Australia, the number 11. Wanders forward. This time Shabir is already in his goal, waiting for him. He places the ball very carefully on the spot before he finally wanders backwards here. Shabir bouncing up and down on his goal line, right in the centre of the goal. Stares him out, walks up, steps up, sends the goalkeeper the wrong way, sees that he's moving to his right, just rolls it to the keeper's left. Strong reaction from Abil as he reacts to scoring the goal. And again, we are back to all square. But the Aussies have taken 3 and the Egyptians have only taken 2.
Yeah, it's a good penalty. Penny for the thoughts of Harry Souttar if it continues this way, because he's the only man that's missed so far. 2 out of 2 for Egypt, 2 out of 3 for Australia. And up steps now Mohamed Salah, the Egyptian king. Quiet in the 90 minutes, but he came alive right at the end. And he was one of the dictators of play in extra time. Can he now score a crucial goal for Egypt? He's been at the forefront of everything that they've done to get to this point. 120 appearances, 68 goals. The former Liverpool man. Can he get one more? Can he score from the spot to give Egypt 3 out of 3? Mohamed Salah against Matt Ryan. A couple of deep breaths from the Egyptian king. And then left-footed Mohamed Salah. He's dinked it. I don't know if it's technically a Panenka, but it's a cheeky one nonetheless. He was so close towards Matt Ryan there. He'd gone down to his left-hand side. Salah struck it through the middle with a little bit of loft, and it's into the back of the net. It's 2-3.
Yeah, I'm really surprised by how early Matt Ryan is going. You see there again, he starts to move to his left before Salah's even taken it, and actually it counts against him on that occasion because it was not the best Panenka you've ever seen from Mo Salah. It wasn't really high enough, it was down the centre, and if Matt Ryan goes as it's kicked, he probably kicks that one away with his feet. Well, here's one we wouldn't have expected necessarily from the Australian side. Lucas Harrington, the youngest player to play for Australia in a knockout game. Admittedly, I know that's not too many matches, but nevertheless, he is the youngest Aussie to play at this round of a World Cup. And he will step up to try and score Australia's third penalty. Big deep breaths as the young man steps up. Oh, and he's missed. I'm not sure if it flicked the top of the crossbar as it went over, but it's gone over. Lucas Harrington is crestfallen as he walks away. We've seen the experienced defender put one over with Harry Souttar missing the first one. And now, unfortunately, I'm afraid the young defender has clipped the top of the bar. That one goes away, and it's advantage Egypt.
You have to wonder, Steve, why have they chosen the players that they've chosen? 2 centre-halves, brilliant in the game, brilliant 120 minutes of football. 2 very similar finishes from the spot. That opening of the hips with the right boot, and the same result for those 2. Even Jackson Irvine's was like that, but that was into the top corner. And Irvine, of course, so much more used to scoring goals than Souttar and Harrington. Could that be costly? Well, if Egypt score, it will be costly. They have a chance. They have 2 chances, really, to win the game now. And it will be one of the substitutes, Hossam, who could take Egypt through to the round of 16. They will play the winners of Argentina versus Cape Verde if they can score. Hossam. 2 big, deep breaths. He still stood right next to the ball as Ryan eventually goes back onto his line. Hossam takes his steps backwards. It'll be a right-footed finish. Hossam with an opportunity to make history for Egypt. A slow run-up. Hossam scores and Egypt are through. And that's it. Well, it was so well balanced in 90 minutes. And so too was it in the extra time. 30 minutes couldn't separate them. 120 minutes couldn't separate them. But it's the penalty spot that separates them. 2 misses, 2 big misses for Australia. The 2 centre-halves, Souttar and Harrington. 4 out of 4 for Egypt. And it's into the back of the net. It's Hassam with the winner. Egypt will go through to the round of 16 of the World Cup for the first time ever after 1-1 in 90 minutes. 1-1 in 120. It's Egypt who win on penalties. Thanks for joining us.
Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while also enjoying our in-play betting opportunities. Good luck! Our next football commentary match is getting ever nearer, so why not take the opportunity of having a bet on the match? Whether you're interested in betting on the match result, the first player to score, the last scorer, correct score, double result, total goals market, handicap betting, or any other of our exciting markets, it's fun to be involved. Don't forget, when the match kicks off, you can sit back and enjoy superb independent studio commentary while